Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Hokage. Reward 10,000 times for teaching disciples, start by teaching Naruto Sss's level ninjutsu. Chapter 91. Hundreds of meters in the air. Mizuki raised his right hand above his head, with his palm facing the sky. Wind style. Super Jade. Spiral Shuriken. The spiral shuriken took shape in an instant, emitting a bright white color that was extremely dazzling in the night sky. When the spiral shuriken rotates, it also makes a clear sound like a propeller. This is not over yet. Mizuki continues to inject chakra into it. The volume of the spiral shuriken expanded rapidly, getting larger and larger, with a diameter of 5 meters, 10 meters, 15 meters. On the streets of Konoha, countless people looked up. In the barbecue restaurant, the expressions of Orochimaru, Danzo and others changed dramatically. Not good. They rushed out of the kebab shop and looked up. The spiral shuriken that continued to expand frightened everyone. Who is it? Danzo shouted angrily. In the darkness, they couldn't see Mizuki's face clearly. They could only see a humanoid black shadow under the shuriken. It should be Mizuki, Orochimaru said in a hoarse voice. I have seen this move of his before. Orochimaru had seen the spiral shuriken when he was in the land of waves. At that time, even the triple Rashomon could not stop it. And now this one is larger, more powerful, already 20 meters in diameter, and it's not over yet. What? He's not dead. Danzo couldn't believe it. Wasn't it agreed that Mizuki would be sealed with ghouls and die together with Kato Dan? Why is Kato Dan dead but not Mizuki? Orochimaru looked gloomy and said, we guessed wrong. Danzo asked, what to do now? Judging from his target, it seems to be the Hokage building. With this move, the Hokage building will be completely destroyed, and the surrounding buildings will also be affected on a large scale. Danzo said this, but he was actually not in a hurry. The destruction of the Hokage building happened to be a huge blow to Orochimaru, the 5th Hokage. Orochimaru's prestige will be completely trampled on. By then, he, Danzo, would have a reasonable excuse to drive Orochimaru out of office and ascend to the position of Hokage himself. Of course Orochimaru doesn't get what he wants. Although his current body is very old and his combat power is extremely weak, he is not completely out of moves. He jumped to the roof and quickly formed seals with his hands. Summoning technique. Impure world reincarnation. 2 coffins were raised, and the first generation and second generation came out. Tobirama said with an unswerving expression, it's impure world reincarnation again. Orochimaru, right, do you really think you can control me with just you? Orochimaru, sorry, Nadaime, I had no choice but to do it. This time, he didn't use the cursed kunai to control their will and behavior. Tobirama turned around and saw Orochimaru wearing a Hokage god robe. He immediately frowned and said, what's going on? Orochimaru said, it's a long story. I'll explain it later when I have the chance. In short, I am on Konoha's side. I was just acting in the past. The most important thing now is to stop the one in the sky. If we don't stop him, Konoha will suffer huge losses. Hashirama had already raised his head, looking at the huge shuriken, his eyes full of admiration. This kind of powerful ninjutsu is not much worse than the original Madara. Tobirama was speechless. Brother, you never leave Madara. It gives me a headache. And, is now the time to say this? Hashirama laughed and said, what, I can't help it. Tobirama slapped his forehead and became even more speechless. Orochimaru urged, 2 seniors, now is not the time to chat. Konoha is in danger. Tobirama nodded and said, okay, the first priority is to block the opponent's attack. I'll do it. At the same time, the diameter of the spiral shuriken in Mizuki's hand reached 30 meters. Mizuki injected a full 300 calories of chakra into it, and its power is unimaginable. If it really fell, it might destroy half of Konoha. This time, he was really angry. The next moment, the Rasen shuriken flew downwards, pointing directly at the Hokage building. Coming, Tobirama had quick eyes and quick hands. He flung out 2 kunai and flew one to the top of the Hokage building at lightning speed and nailed it to the eaves. The other one flew straight into the sky. The next moment, Tobirama flashed and appeared on the top of the Hokage building, exactly where the kunai was. Flying Thunder God Technique. Tobirama stood on the roof, looking up at the Rasen shurikens shooting from diagonally above, his face expressionless. The rosin shuriken was so fast that it was in front of him in a blink of an eye. The strong wind brought up made Tobirama's armor rattle. It's pretty awesome. However, it is not that easy to destroy Konoha. Tobirama snorted coldly and raised his hands, but there was no seal. Suddenly, a curse seal appeared in the void, like a big net, hanging over the Hokage tower. 100 meters in the air, Mizuki looked down from a high position, looking at the black curse seal formation that was shaped like a big net. His eyes narrowed slightly. It seems familiar. This is the Flying Thunder God. In the anime, the Flying Thunder God guide mine appeared several times, and was used by both 2nd generation and 4th generation. During the Nine Tails Rebellion, 4th generation used the Flying Thunder God guided mine to divert the Nine Tails Tailed Beast Bomb. During the 4th generation, the 10 Tails Tailed Beast Bomb that left the Ninja Alliance helpless was easily transferred to the sea by the 4th generation. Tobirama also deflected Obito's truth-seeking ball. Using this move to block the rosin shuriken is quite useful. Where would you move it, though? At this time, the spiral shuriken had touched the Flying Thunder God's lightning guide seal, and the big net immediately collapsed inward, wrapping the spiral shuriken, and then disappeared together with the spiral shuriken. The Hokage building, apart from some tiles blown off by strong winds, did not suffer any other damage. Successful, Tobirama said calmly. He looked up to the sky, where there was his other kunai. At the same time, Mizuki also looked up to the sky. The rosin shuriken that had just disappeared appeared again. Should it be transferred to a high-altitude explosion? It's a good idea, but it's a pity that the attack I spent so much chakra on can be neutralized so easily. Mizuki smiled lightly, and the next moment, his position suddenly changed and he was on the top of the Hokage building. In response, 2nd Hokage appeared 100 meters in the air. After the transformation, the two people's positions were switched. This person also knows space ninjutsu. Tobirama frowned, used Flying Thunder God again, came to the location of kunai on the roof, and at the same time raised his foot to kick Mizuki. Mizuki smiled lightly and said, "Get ready to explode." The next moment, the operation was activated again. This time the object of exchange was the controlled spiral shuriken. In an instant, Mizuki was high in the sky. The 30-meter diameter spiral shuriken appeared on the roof of the Hokage building. What? Tobirama had no time to react and was enveloped in horrific damage. He didn't even last 0.1 seconds before turning into ashes. Under the terrifying rotation and destruction, the Hokage building quickly disintegrated like tofu. "It's over," Orochimaru said blankly in the distance. "Don't panic," Senju Hashirama said calmly. He was already prepared. He bit his finger and slapped the ground with one hand. Summoning technique. 5-fold Rashomon. 5 huge Rashomon gates rose from the ground. Their height, width and thickness increased several times compared to those summoned by Orochimaru. And what is different from the past is that these 5 Rashomon gates are not arranged in a straight line, but stand side by side, forming a semicircle, standing in front of the Hokage building, blocking other buildings in the village behind. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, dazzling light shot into the sky, illuminating the entire Konoha as if it were daytime. The ground shook violently, and Rashomon continued to shake and even began to fall backwards. It's so powerful. Just the aftermath of the explosion can push the Rashomon gate. Hashirama's expression changed. He clapped his hands and shouted, "Wood style. Unbutton your crotch." A large group of giant trees grew rapidly and reached behind Rashomon. "It's blocked." Great. At this time, Mizuki had already flown to another place. Seeing that the explosion of the Rasenshuriken was blocked by Rashomon and wood style, Mizuki didn't feel any pity. The Hokage building was destroyed, and all the ninjas on duty inside died. The Hokage rock, which was being rebuilt behind the Hokage building, was also destroyed again. This is just right. It not only teaches Orochimaru and the top management of Konoha a lesson, but also doesn't hurt too many civilians. He also planned to continue harvesting Konoha's wool and led people to defect from Konoha. If Konoha is completely destroyed, those geniuses will be gone. Today I taught Orochimaru a bloody lesson, that's almost it. Next, Danzo's roots. From the memory of the Anbu squad leader, Mizuki explored the location of the root base. It's better to destroy this dirty and smelly rat's nest. He entered the root base, and the root ninja guarding the base was knocked down by genjutsu before he showed up, and was unable to even issue a warning. Mizuki did not take action directly, but searched the base. He went into all the various secret rooms and checked them out. As long as he finds something useful, he packs it all into a storage ring. There are so many seals on the door of this secret room. The things inside must be very important. This kind of seal is completely ineffective for him. The seal will automatically become ineffective if the seal is absorbed and the chakra is drained. The moment the seal was lifted, Danzo had already felt it. No, the base has been invaded. Danzo's expression changed greatly, but he did not dare to return to the base immediately because he knew it was Mizuki. He is afraid of death. Mizuki was about to open the door and walk into the secret room when he suddenly frowned. He sensed that there was a dangerous aura approaching behind him, and when he looked back, he didn't see anything. No, something is approaching. Sharingan and Rinnegan drove together, and then he saw swarms of tiny insects flying in the air. Insect, a ninja of the Aburame family, and such a small insect, is at the root of Aburame. Then these bugs cannot be touched easily. Aburame takes the root, and its body contains highly toxic nanoscale poisonous insects. If someone is infected with this toxin, they will die due to the destruction of cells in the body. Very dangerous. It seems that this secret room is very important. Mizuki became more and more interested. Shinra Tenjang. Under the strong repulsive force, the insects that flew close immediately flew out. At the same time, Mizuki's Sharingan glanced toward the darkness in the distance. With just one glance, Aburame, who was hiding in the dark, fell into an illusion and lost his ability to attack. Mizuki opened the door and walked into the secret room. Then he saw that the wall was covered with reagent bottles, and each bottle contained an eye. They are all Sharingan, 1 Magatama, 2 Magatama, and 3 Magatama. Altogether, there are no less than 300. Hiss. Even though Mizuki was used to the cruelty of the ninja world, he felt a little numb at this moment. It's so crazy to accept Danzo, the sixth one. With so many Sharingan, no wonder Danzo doesn't even blink when using Izanagi. You don't have to worry about consumption at all. Moreover, Sharingan here is not necessarily all. The so-called cunning rabbit has 3 holes. A person with a dark mind like Danzo is extremely cunning and cannot put all his eggs in the same basket. Like Orochimaru, Danzo must have other secret bases. Destroy this place first before we talk about it. Mizuki came to Konoha today. Besides Hatake Sakumo, another reason was revenge. Destroying the Hokage building and the root base was his warning to Orochimaru and Danzo. As for killing them, Mizuki has no intention of doing so. Orochimaru is not easy to kill, and he can be resurrected even if he is killed, so there is no need. As for Danzo, Mizuki left him with Sasuke, which is what he promised Sasuke. Soon, all Sharingan were collected by Mizuki. In addition to these Sharingan, he also received a ninjutsu training scroll. This is the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, the ultimate eye technique, Izanagi. Danzo puts it in the same room as these Sharingans, which shows how much attention it takes. Originally, Sasuke's remaining opportunity to return this month was to give one-tail Shukaku. Now, there seems to be a more suitable option. Yes, Mizuki changed his mind and planned to give Izanagi to Sasuke first. It's not that he's afraid of death. It's hard for him to die now that he has the resentful Empress Yu. He just wanted to know what Izanagi would become after being doubled and returned by the system. It's almost done. I've already raided the root base and it's time to destroy it. At this moment, the door to the secret room closed automatically with a bang. 4 loud shouts came from outside the door. Ninja technique. 4 purple flame formation. Mizuki raised a brow, then chuckled. Still want to attack me? Danzo, do you know that I promised Sasuke not to kill you? He didn't pay attention. With his current strength and various weird ninjutsu, even Senju Hashirama in his heyday would be unable to do anything to him. Even if he can't beat him and he wants to leave, Hashirama can't stop him. At this moment, a large amount of light yellow smoke came out from the air inlets at the 4 corners, and in an instant it filled the entire room. After the smoke is inhaled into the body, it wildly destroys his body cells. It's highly toxic. If ordinary people came in, they really couldn't hold it for a few seconds. Haha, what a small trick. Mizuki laughed it off. Although the body cells were damaged, the large amount of vitality devoured by Tianyuyu could not be covered. The recovery rate of cells cannot be slower than the rate of damage. Apart from consuming a little bit of the vitality stored in his body, there was no other effect at all. In fact, during the process of repeated destruction and repair, his cells became resistant to the poisonous smoke. After a while, the poisonous smoke was completely ineffective. Outside the secret room, Aburame got out of the control of illusion with the help of others. At this time, he was controlling the parasite and entering the secret room to explore. He is not dead. My bug feels strong vitality. The poisonous smoke cannot cause effective harm to him. Plan A failed, now implement Plan B. After saying this, Aburame took off his gloves and a large number of nano-sized poisonous insects flew out and entered the secret room through the vents. This poisonous insect eats chakra and damages the enemy's cells by emitting highly toxic poison. Within the cells, the poisonous insects multiply rapidly until the enemy dies. Once caught by this bug, you are basically dead. After the poisonous insect entered the secret room, Mizuki immediately sensed the danger. It's bugs again. Mizuki didn't dare to let this poisonous insect get on his body. This kind of thing would multiply indefinitely in the body and could not be removed. Just thinking about it made his scalp numb. Although Tianyuyu can turn him into liquid, there are some things on his body that he can't get rid of. Such as bacteria, such as viruses. The poisonous insect that Aburame took the root of is nano-sized, so small that it is just like a virus. No, it is more vicious than a virus. If you are really contaminated, the consequences are unpredictable, so it's better to stay away. It's almost time to finish. He raised his hands sideways, as if hugging the ceiling. His posture was elegant and haughty. Super. Shinra Tenjang. With him as the center, it spreads outward in a spherical form. Wherever the repulsive force reaches, everything is annihilated. The ground of Konoha shook again. Although the shock this time was not as violent as when the Rasen shuriken exploded just now, it lasted longer. What happened? Has the village been attacked again? It was the Hokage building just now. Where is it now? The vibrations came from outside the village, but there were explosions every time. The villagers were panicked. Orochimaru and others looked toward the root base. As ninjas, their perceptions are more acute and they already know clearly that something is going on over there. Danzo looked ugly and gritted his teeth. He was very unwilling, but had no choice. The next moment, everyone saw a huge piece of land with a diameter of hundreds of meters flying up, disintegrating in the air while flying upward. Below, there is a giant sinkhole, with a mouth and a large belly, and is spherical in shape. It's also a shame that Danzo set up his base outside the village in order to hide from others, otherwise Konoha would probably collapse. What's more, Mizuki used this move underground, and its power was blocked by the earth. Otherwise, if he used it in the sky like pain, the damage caused would be more than this. Danzo's eyes were red. My base, my hard work day and night, and the hard work accumulated over the past few decades were all destroyed today. The root ninja left behind in the base accounted for 80% of all root ninja, and now they are all dead. Mizuki, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to get my revenge. My roots, he cried, tearful. Orochimaru on the side looked at the pitiful Danzo and couldn't help but curl up the corner of his mouth. Oh, rubbish Danzo, you still want to covet my position as Hokage. What a daydream. Now that your roots are destroyed and most of your root ninjas are dead or injured, let me see what else you have to fight with me for. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama began to get angry as they watched Mizuki destroy the village wantonly but were unable to stop him. Especially Tobarama, who has a bad temper and can't stand it anymore. Orochimaru, tell me the details of this Mizuki. I need to understand what he's capable of and then work out countermeasures. Tobarama plans to return to his old business. Mizuki, an evil person who destroyed Konoha village, must be punished. This time, Hashirama didn't stop him. Tobarama, go ahead and do it, for the sake of Konoha village, I allow it. At the same time, 4 wood clones were separated from Hashirama. The 4 clones quickly went in 4 directions and surrounded Konoha in the form of 4 corners. Ninja technique. 4 red yang formation. Red barriers rose on all sides, wrapping the entire Konoha. He wanted to use this method to prevent Mizuki from entering the village again to cause damage. Little did he know, he used super. Mizuki of Shinra Tensei's chakra is almost exhausted, and he has no intention of continuing to take action. Looking at the four red yang formation created by Hashirama, Mizuki smiled faintly. This thing can block a lot of things, but it can't block space travel. It's time to go find Kakashi. Just as he was about to use the apparition technique to enter the barrier, Hashirama and Tobirama had already turned their heads and looked towards his location. I forgot that those two idiots are sentient. After thinking about it, Mizuki decided to retreat temporarily. There was nothing he could do. The move just now exhausted his chakra and pupil power. Rinnegan could not use any pupil technique for the time being. Although chakra is recovering, the powerful ninjutsu cannot be used in a short period of time. If you are besieged, you will be very passive. And with these two sentient ninjas around, he could never hope to contact Kakashi smoothly. Forget it, let's do it next time. Anyway, if Hatake Tsukumo gets it, Kakashi will be a member of my Phoenix village sooner or later. He turned and left, flying to the land of birds. We have to find a way to get all the talented players from Konoha to the land of birds as soon as possible. Lest when I take action in Konoha, I won't be able to let go, for fear of killing those geniuses. Flying also consumes chakra, 0.01 calories per second, which is 0.6 calories per minute. After taking super soldier food pills several times, his chakra recovery rate reached 2.5 calories per minute. So as you fly, the chakra will not decrease, but will increase. When he approached the Kingdom of Rain, the chakra in his body had returned to 200 calories. About to fly over the rain country, he raised his altitude and planned to fly over from an altitude of several thousand meters. So as not to alert Nagato in Rain Shinobi Village and cause trouble in vain. At this moment, he suddenly saw a familiar big white bird in front of him. Sitting on the back of the bird were two people, Deidara and the red sand scorpion. The tail feathers of the bird are curled up, and there is a person among them. Isn't this Seven Tails Jinchuriki Fu from Taki Ninja Village? This artistic duo is really persistent. A few days ago, due to their intervention, they failed to capture Seven Tails Jinchuriki. Unexpectedly, they turned back so quickly and succeeded in capturing him. Now that we have met, then Seven Tails should also belong to me in Phoenix Village. Although chakra has only recovered a small part, it is enough. Apparition. In an instant, Mizuki and the red sand scorpion switched places. Mizuki landed on the back of the big bird, while Scorpion reached the empty sky of 1,000 meters. Red Sand Scorpion, Deidara, do you want to die? He has been very calm since he was a child. When he meets Scorpio, who is calm in everything, he can no longer remain calm now. He thought that Deidara was deliberately trying to harm him. Angry with his methods, he would not be killed if he fell. But being played like this by Deidara, where is his dignity as the eldest brother? As he fell, he took out a scroll and summoned the puppet in it. Third Cage. The third Cage, whose name is unknown, masters the magnet-style bloodline limit and can control sand iron. Due to the special nature of the magnet style, all magnetic objects will be controlled by him. On the battlefield, all the enemy's iron weapons will be ineffective. Therefore, Third Cage is known as the strongest Cage in history. Unfortunately, this guy was killed by the red sand scorpion and turned into a human puppet. The name of the strongest is really ironic. The so-called magnet style is almost as slow as changing the name. At this time, Scorpion summoned the third Cage, along with a large amount of sand iron. Magnet style. Sunatetsu no Tsubasa. Under the control of Scorpion, third Cage performed the magnet style secret technique, creating a pair of sand iron wings behind himself and Scorpion. The wings flapped, and the Scorpion's falling force immediately reversed, flying freely in the air. Crisis resolved. Needless to say, these figures in Sunagaku are quite free and they can all fly. Deidara, you dare to play with me, I have to kill him today and make him a new puppet. I want you to understand that eternity is the real art. Scorpio glanced around, and with the help of the moonlight, he quickly found Deidara's big white bird. He doesn't have a Sharingan, much less a Rinnegan, and his eyesight isn't as pervert as Mizuki's. so he couldn't see what was happening on the bird's back. Hey, Brother Scorpion, why did you use the transformation technique to look like someone else? Or is this your true face under the disguise of a puppet? Under the moonlight, Mizuki's back was turned to the moon, and his face was hidden in the shadow. Due to the backlight effect, Deidara did not see Mizuki's appearance clearly at the first time. I just thought it was Scorpio playing a prank. At this time, Deidara was only 15 years old, but already had Kage-level strength. I have to say, this is a super genius. Mizuki is excited. Deidara, I admire your pursuit of art. A flash of light, followed by a pleasing explosion, very thoughtful. Deidara looked at Mizuki and said, so you are not Brother Scorpion, but I still want to say that you are really discerning. Because you admire my art so much, I decided to let you experience the true charm of art. I want you to die under my art. As soon as he finished speaking, a clay centipede broke open the bird's back and wrapped Mizuki in an instant. You can't run away now, huh? He raised his hand, preparing to control the clay centipede to explode. At this time, Mizuki smiled and said, don't worry, you'd better take a look at yourself. Deidara was shocked. As a huge three-tomo Sharingan pattern floated past his head, his expression suddenly changed. Looking down, he saw that the clay centipede was wrapped around himself. He nearly blew himself up. Illusion. No, how could this happen? This is impossible. My ability to resist illusions has obviously improved significantly, so why do I still fall victim to it? And this same scene, no, I would never believe it. Since being defeated by Uchiha Itachi's genjutsu, Deidara was unwilling to accept it. After joining the Akatsuki organization, she worked hard to practice genjutsu resistance and genjutsu dispelling. I thought that I was no longer afraid of all illusions, but I didn't expect that I would fall under illusions again today. Deidara, your art is ineffective in my presence. Deidara had just gotten rid of the illusion, when he heard the sound and looked over unconsciously. Then Xiao Di saw a person floating quietly in the air, with a full moon behind his head. The moonlight was shining like holy light, making him look like a god. This was intentional by Mizuki. Stand in a coquettish position and use chakra to affect the moonlight around you, creating a dazzling effect like the Tyndall effect. As expected, Deidara was stunned. No. The memory of past humiliation came to mind again, and Deidara almost collapsed. Uchiha Itachi, is that you? Deidara asked loudly, because the same scene happened to Uchiha Itachi. Mizuki smiled inwardly. Young people have never seen the world. I am not Uchiha Itachi, I am the first generation Hokage of Phoenix Village in the Land of Birds, the twin shadow killer of the two kingdoms of wind and fire, and the strongest in the ninja world, Mizuki. Ever since Mizuki killed the third Hokage and the fourth Kage, his fame spread throughout the ninja world. The name of the twin shadow killer also appeared. He is also the only strong man in the history of the ninja world to kill two Kages. In the underground money exchange, Mizuki's reward amount is as high as 12,000 taels. Konoha village and Sand Shinobi village offered large sums of money as bounties at all costs. Why are you here? Where is Brother Scorpion? Mizuki said. The red sand scorpion is there, flying this way. As for why I'm here, well, it's just a coincidence. Deidara, I admire your pursuit of art. The explosive art you invented has great potential. Unfortunately, in my opinion, your explosive art is too weak. How dare you underestimate my art, Deidara, who do you think you are? He retorted. Why do you, a person who doesn't understand art, belittle my art, huh? Mizuki murmured. A real explosion is one that destroys the world. One moment is enough to destroy the entire Fire Nation. That is the real art. Your explosion is just a child's play. Mizuki is no joke. The Tsar bomb of the former Soviet Union had a damage radius of up to 1,000 kilometers. It's easy to blow up a Fire Nation. Deidara's eyes widened. Destroy the Fire Nation instantly. What are you talking about? How could there be such a powerful art? Even if it is my ultimate art, the explosion radius can only reach 10 kilometers. If you want to destroy the Kingdom of Fire, hundreds of self-destructions are not enough. However, although his words were full of doubts, his eyes were full of interest. He kind of wants to know what kind of art Mizuki said can destroy the Land of Fire in an instant. Mizuki looked at Deidara and smiled. if you become my teacher, I will teach you this super powerful explosive art. At that time, the ninja world won't be enough for you to toss around. You may even have to go to outer space to express your art freely. One cast of art can blow up a planet. Do you want it? Mizuki's words were too attractive to Deidara. Just imagining that scene made Deidara tremble with excitement. Are you really willing to teach me this art? Mizuki smiled and said, of course I do. In this ninja world, except for you, I can't think of anyone else who can inherit my art. I have many disciples. What they want to learn are ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. They can't escape the ninja framework and are stuck in their ways. Only you have transcended the definition of ordinary ninja. Only you can inherit my true mantle. Xiaodi was almost climaxing while listening to Mizuki's trick. He transcended the madness of ordinary ninjas and embarked on a new ninja path. So is my pursuit of Deidara so advanced? Well, is your super explosive art difficult to learn? Deidara asked, his face full of anxiety, waiting for Mizuki's answer. Mizuki frowned, thinking that if he said something difficult, he might scare him away. So he said, this super explosive art is difficult. It involves mathematics, physics, chemistry, thermodynamics, materials science, engineering and other fields of knowledge. Ordinary people will never be able to learn it. But no matter how difficult it is still trivial to you. With your pursuit of art, it will be easy to learn. Deidara was overjoyed when he heard this and said, haha, you really didn't lie to me. It's better if it's difficult to learn. The more difficult something is, the higher the artistic quality is. Mizuki, in that case, you can become a disciple and then follow me back to Phoenix Village. But Deidara shook his head and said, no, I am now a member of the Akatsuki organization. If I leave with you, the Akatsuki organization will hunt me down. Those guys are all perverts. I don't want to die. Although you are strong, you probably have no chance of winning against the leader of the Akatsuki organization. Mizuki raised an eyebrow. Young man, dare you underestimate me? At this time, the red sand scorpion had flown in and was getting closer. He finally saw that besides Deidara, Mizuki was also there. Then, he flapped his wings, turned around and ran away. Deidara, hold on for a while. This is very close to the headquarters. I will notify the leader to rescue you. My teammates sold it very simply. But Deidara said to Mizuki, hey, why don't you leave? You will be in danger when our leader comes. He now knows that Mizuki has no intention of killing him, so he is not worried about any danger to himself. Mizuki said, aren't you worried that after joining Phoenix Village, the Akatsuki organization will hunt you down? Pen is here just in time to let you see my strength and dispel your worries. But at the next moment, Mizuki's expression suddenly changed. What a sand shinobi village actually took advantage of my absence to launch a massive night attack on Phoenix Village. Deidara, I have something urgent to do today and I have to go to the county. I will come back to you next time. If you want to learn the super explosive art, only I can teach you. Also, I took Seven Tails Jinchuriki with me. A universal pull sucked Fu into his hand, and Mizuki flew towards the land of birds at maximum speed. Deidara looked at Mizuki's back and sneered. TCH, I thought he had real abilities, but he was scared away by the title of leader. So, the super explosive art he talked about also deceived me. Humph, I almost believed him. But at this moment, Deidara saw a person flying in front of Mizuki. The figure was very familiar, it was Tendo Pain. The leader is here so quickly, Mizuki is dead now. Mizuki looked at Tendo Pain who was blocking the front, frowned and said, get out of the way, I don't have time to fight you now. Pain looked calm. First generation Hokage Mizuki, hand over Seven Tails Jinchuriki and join the Akatsuki organization, and I will spare your life. If you resist again, I will not only kill you, but also destroy the Phoenix Village you established in the bird country. You have no choice. Annoying. As soon as he finished speaking, Mizuki's left eye suddenly widened, and his pupil technique, High Soul Life, was activated, and the power of forbidden magic enveloped Pain. However, Pain didn't react at all and still maintained his flying state with the help of repulsion. Pain looked at Mizuki and said calmly, you actually have Sharingan, another Kakashi. However, your Sharingan doesn't work on me. Rinnegan has the eyes of an immortal. How can he rival me if he is just an ordinary person? You are stubborn, so feel the pain from now on. Only pain can make you realize reality. Mizuki said nothing. He just tried it, and the result was not beyond expectations. After all, the Sharingan is not as good as the Rinnegan. Even the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan appears to be at a disadvantage in front of the Rinnegan. In other words, Uchiha Itachi's Amaterasu can harm the owner of the Rinnegan. Sand Shinobi Village is launching a large-scale attack. Naruto and the others don't have to worry about their safety, but Phoenix Village, which was built with great difficulty, will suffer huge damage. There are still too few ninjas in the village to effectively protect the village. This is why Mizuki is anxious to go back. If we had gone back a minute earlier, more of the village's buildings would have been preserved. He looked up at Pain and said, "Since you like blocking roads so much, I'll give you a surprise. As for whether it's painful or not, it's ridiculous. What you call pain is just wishful thinking." The next moment, his right eye opened Rinnegan. Pain was shocked when he saw Mizuki's Rinnegan. "Why do you have it too?" Mizuki did not answer, but shouted in a deep voice, "Heterogeneous Rinne Tensai technique." Green light enveloped Tiandao Pain. Put a super in Konoha. Shinra Tenjang almost exhausted Rinnegan's eye power. After all, he only has one Rinnegan, and its power is only half. Now that Luffy has arrived, his pupil power has finally recovered somewhat. Although super Shinra Tenjang's ultimate move cannot be used, but it is still possible to resurrect individuals. At this time, Rain Shinobi Village, Nagato was sitting in a wheelchair, his body suddenly sat up straight, and he exclaimed, "Why is this happening? He also has a Rinnegan, but why did he do this? Don't he know that if he uses that move, he himself will die?" Nagato clearly knows that the cost of performing the Rinne Tensai technique is the life of the user. This is why he didn't use Rinne Tensai to resurrect Yahiko. Because Yahiko lives, but he will die. There is no point in exchanging one life for another. Behind him, Konan asked, "Nagato, what happened? Isn't Kabu Mizuki's opponent?" Nagato did not explain, but said at a very fast speed, "Konan, inform Deidara immediately and be sure to catch Yahiko." Seeing Nagato being so anxious, Konan immediately informed Deidara as he said. The rings of the Akatsuki organization have the function of transmitting messages. Therefore, although members of the Akatsuki organization are scattered throughout the ninja world, it is easy to obtain and deliver information. Notification has been received. Nagato, what is going on? Nagato said with a trembling voice. Mizuki has awakened the Rinnegan, and he is using the Rinne Tensai technique to resurrect Yahiko. What? Konan's face turned pale. Then she walked quickly towards the door, the white paper peeling off her body and forming wings behind her. Wait a minute, Nagato shouted. Take me with you. On Mizuki's side, feeling the breath of life gradually blooming in the green light, Mizuki snorted and flew away to the west. A few seconds after leaving, the green light on Pain dissipated. Hey, where am I? Why am I in the sky? Help, I can't fly. Ah, the resurrected Yahiko screamed and fell downwards. Unfortunately, there was a black rod inserted in his body, causing him to be unable to move. Like a puppet, falling vertically. But he shouted for a while and suddenly stopped. No, I was already dead. I even shouted for help. It was so embarrassing. So, he remained silent and allowed himself to fall freely. Because it was night, nothing could be seen clearly, so Yahiko hadn't noticed yet that this place was no longer a pure land. Seeing that he was about to fall to the ground and be smashed into meat pie, Deidara finally arrived on a clay bird and successfully rescued him. Hey, who are you? Yahiko asked. Deidara frowned and asked, Chief, you don't recognize me anymore. That's not right. Why is your Rinnegan gone, huh? Xiaodi was very confused and didn't understand what was going on with this leader. Yahiko asked, Hey, what's your name? It's such a pity that you died so young. Xiaodi was speechless. What did you say? Who died? I live well and study explosion art every day, how could I die so easily? You have reached the Pure Land and still don't admit it. Your bones are rotten, but your mouth is still hard. Deidara was so angry that he exploded. You dare to curse me to death, and I will let you taste the charm of art, huh? Xiaodi was about to release the clay bird bomb when a voice suddenly sounded from a distance, Deidara, stop. Hearing the sound, Deidara stopped his hand angrily, but Yahiko's eyes changed. Why does this voice sound so much like Conan? Conan spread his white wings and descended like an angel. Yahiko was dumbfounded. Conan, you. Conan smiled and said, Yahiko, welcome back. Conan, what the hell is going on? Don't worry, let's wait until we meet Nagato. Conan said with a smile. She turned to Shouty again and asked, Deidara, where is Mizuki's body? Shouty wondered. Master, corpse. He is not dead. Where did the corpse come from? What? Mizuki isn't dead. This is impossible. Rinne Tensai technique. The price is the life of the caster. Mizuki used Rinne Tensai to resurrect Yahiko. He should be dead, but why not? Yeah, he's not dead, he flew away. Conan wondered. Could it be that he was afraid that the body would be obtained by the Akatsuki organization, so he took his last breath and hid away? She still felt something was wrong, so she asked again, did he change anything when he left? For example, did his hair become pale, did his face have wrinkles, and did his body become older? Deidara said bluntly, how do I know this? It's late at night and I'm far away, so I can't see clearly. Conan nodded, seeing that he couldn't ask anything, so he could only send Deidara away, and then took Yahiko to see Nagato. After the three met, Nagato and Conan explained, and Yahiko understood everything. Nagato, why are you doing this? This was not our intention when we established the Akatsuki organization. Obviously, Yahiko firmly disagrees with Nagato's concept of peace. Yahiko has always advocated using dialogue to discourage war. The original Akatsuki organization also did that. Since Yahiko's death, Nagato has become the leader of the Akatsuki organization and has changed his past philosophy. He wants the world to feel pain and fear war, and then the world will cherish the hard-won peace, thereby achieving the goal of world peace. But now, Yahiko is alive. Nagato asked, Yahiko, why did you die? Don't you remember? Yahiko was silent. Our original idea was to achieve peace through dialogue. But we were wrong, so wrong that you even lost your life. Hanzo is afraid of us and wants to get rid of us. With dialogue alone, we cannot bring about peace in the shinobi world, let alone peace in Rain Shinobi Village. This country is still crying, and the people are still living in pain. Nagato said with firm eyes, Yahiko, give up your unrealistic ideas. Only pain can bring peace. Yahiko was silent. He couldn't argue. But according to you, making the ninja world feel pain requires powerful force. Does the Akatsuki organization have this ability? Nagato said. So, the Akatsuki organization's plan is to collect tailed beasts, gather the 9 tailed beasts, resurrect 10 tails, and then I will become 10 tails Jinchuriki. My strength will reach the level of Sage of 6 Paths. At that point, peace will be at your fingertips. Yahiko frowned. It's difficult to collect the 9 tailed beasts. After all, the tailed beasts are in the hands of the 5 major countries, and they will never give them up. Nagato said. It wasn't difficult originally, but that Mizuki turned out and he also has a Rinnegan, which made it more difficult for us to collect tailed beasts. But I have a way. Conan asked. Nagato, what method did you come up with? Nagato explained. Now, 1 tail, 7 tails, and 9 tails have all fallen into Mizuki's hands. This shows that Mizuki also has plans to collect tailed beasts. Why not, let him collect the tailed beasts first. When there are more and more tailed beasts in Phoenix Village, the 5 major nations will definitely be unable to sit still. By then, the 5-nation coalition will surely set foot on the Bird Kingdom and launch a battle formation to fight for the tailed beasts. Phoenix Village fights against the 5 major villages alone. Although Mizuki is strong, it cannot win with certainty. While both sides suffer, we can benefit from it and seize the 9-tailed beasts without any effort. Yahiko frowned. He was originally a sunny young man, very positive in his dealings with others and had a very optimistic attitude. He didn't like the smell of conspiracy. Nagato, from what I know about you, this kind of conspiracy and calculation is not your specialty. Someone must have told you this strategy. It's the masked man, the guy who calls himself Uchiha Madara and exudes evil chakra. Nagato, you should stay away from him. In the bird country, Phoenix Village, a large number of Sand Shinobi village ninjas came from all directions. There are various wind-style ninjutsus emerging one after another, as well as poisonous puppets. The most important thing is that there are too many of them. There are only 15 ninjas in Phoenix Village, and Mizuki is not there yet. The disadvantage in numbers is huge. Moreover, in Phoenix Village, Tsunade's anemia has not healed and cannot fight. Although Naoki was resurrected by Mizuki, he currently has no sense of belonging to Phoenix Village. He and Shizune do not intend to take the initiative, but intend to protect Tsunade. Nobita's 3 bodies. I haven't mastered the technique yet, so I have no fighting power. Those who can fight are Naruto and his son, Sasuke, Gaara, Sai and Nobu brothers, Neji and his son, Zabuza and Haku. The most exciting thing is Naruto. With the help of Shuriken Shadow Clone technique, special kunai are inserted everywhere. Relying on the Flying Thunder God, Naruto turned into a yellow flash and disappeared among the enemies. Coupled with the high lethality of the Rasengan, he was truly unscrupulous. Naruto alone almost disintegrated Sand Shinobi's offensive momentum. In order to deal with Naruto, Sand Shinobi released a wide range of ninjutsu wantonly, which resulted in the buildings of Phoenix Village being severely damaged. When Mizuki came back and saw the collapsed buildings, he was so angry that his nostrils were filled with smoke. Sand Shinobi, you are seeking death. Mizuki is back, retreat quickly. With an order from Sand Shinobi's senior management, everyone retreated like a tide. Mizuki stood in the air and looked coldly at the retreating Sand Shinobi army. He was in no hurry to take action. There are too many people. Killing them one by one will be very time-consuming and some fish will slip through the net. Mizuki has prepared his ultimate move. When Sand Shinobi retreated 2 kilometers outside the village, Mizuki moved. Planetary devastation. He stretched out his right hand, and a black ball appeared in his palm, then floated up and hung over the heads of the Sand Shinobi troops. In the night sky, this black ball is inconspicuous. However, all Sand Shinobi felt the terrifying aura coming from above their heads. What is that? What a scary chakra! The Sand Shinobi haven't figured out what the black ball is, but the next moment, gravity has exploded. Trees rose from the ground cracked, and large rocks flew upwards, converging on the surface of the black ball. A huge suspended sphere was born, growing in size. The Sand Shinobi were mixed in with the earth and rocks, and flew into the sky with screams. They struggled, but could not escape. They were tied to the surface of the sphere, unable to move, and then new earth and stone covered their bodies. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of Sand Shinobi were all sealed in the planetary devastation. No one ran away. As the planetary devastation ended, a huge spherical meteorite with a diameter of several hundred meters hung in the air, particularly conspicuous in the moonlight. Everyone in Phoenix Village looked at this scene and marveled in their hearts. What kind of technique is this? Is this something a ninja can do? Zabuza can be considered a person who has seen the world, but he was almost scared to death at this time. Sasuke's eyes were full of divine light, and he murmured, "Is this all his strength? If I learn this technique, Konoha can destroy it with just a raised hand." Naruto was very excited and shouted loudly, "Master is so powerful. This is the first time I've seen this move." Others were also excited, as if they had seen a miracle. A weakling like Nobita has long been stunned. This powerful technique is almost as strong as my grandfather's. Tsunade sighed. She had seen the power of Senju Hashirama. Although she was still very young at that time, she could already remember it. Naoki on the side curled his lips and said, "I have awakened wood-style bloodline and will surpass him soon. Sister, I have decided to go back to Konoha tomorrow to learn the secret technique of wood style. I want to be a Hokage. I want to be the strongest Hokage after my grandfather. I will protect the village that my grandfather founded." Tsunade shouted. "No, why not? Didn't you support me becoming a Hokage before?" Tsunade said earnestly. "Naoki, you have to understand that the Uchiha clan is not accepted by Konoha, and the same is true for the Senju clan. My second grandfather broke up the Senju clan and dispersed them into the village in order to protect the Senju bloodline. But they were so cruel. You know, to this day, the only Senju descendants left in the entire ninja world are you and me." Tsunade left Konoha and wandered around the ninja world for more than 20 years, not for self-protection. She stayed away from the center of power in Konoha, never got married, and never had children. Only in this way did the higher-ups in Konoha feel at ease with her. In the anime, if she hadn't been moved by Naruto, if she hadn't recovered from her phobia, if Konoha hadn't asked her to come back as the boss, she would have the absolute right to speak. Without these conditions, she would never come even half a step closer to Konoha. She continued. That village is no longer what it was before. Your teacher, Orochimaru, is completely different from before. Unless one day you master the secret technique of wood style and become powerful, I will not allow you to return to Konoha. Naoki understood more or less. So, he fell silent. But soon, his eyes became bright and determined. Sister, I understand. Don't worry, I've died once, and I won't be as reckless as before. But Konoha was founded by my grandfather, and I will never be willing to see it fall into darkness. When I have the strength, I will definitely go back, change it, and make it bright and warm again. Tsunade held Naoki in his arms, rubbed his head, and said with a smile, that's right. By the way, I heard from Mizuki that he robbed Konoha's ninjutsu and even brought back the Book of Ceilings. If you want to learn the secret technique of wood style, you can find him. This hurt Naoki. His face was so airtight that he almost suffocated. Mizuki looked at his masterpiece and nodded with satisfaction. Let this remain in the sky as a warning to other countries. Let everyone know that whoever dares to attack Phoenix Village will suffer the consequences. Also, take the time to go to Sand Shinobi Village and collect some interest. If you dare to take Gaara away while I'm away, you will eat the heart of a bear but the courage of a leopard. Returning to Phoenix Village, Mizuki frowned as he looked at the dilapidated buildings outside the village. Missing a Yamato. Mizuki has been running around a lot these days, and Mizuki is a little tired. Not physically tired, but mentally tired. It's almost early morning. After chatting with everyone for a while, he went home to rest. As for Seven Tails Jinchuriki Fu, she is still halfway there. When flying with people, the speed is greatly affected. In order to return to Phoenix Village as soon as possible, Mizuki had to put Fu Xian down and create a shadow clone to take her. Everyone also dispersed. Everyone had just experienced an offensive and defensive battle and was very tired. Even someone as energetic as Naruto was tired. At Naruto's house, Kushina spread the quilt and shouted, Naruto, come and sleep with Mom. Naruto said awkwardly, Mom, I have grown up and am already an adult. Adults are not allowed to sleep with Mom. If word spreads, others will laugh. Kushina had a loving smile on her face. No matter how old you are still my son. You have never enjoyed your mother's arms since you were born. I just want to make up for it. Naruto, I'm sorry. Naruto's eyes turned red. He turned his head and raised his face, not wanting to let the tears roll down. But tears still slipped from the corners of his eyes. Mom, it's not your fault, it's just that the ninja world is too cruel. I am lucky because I met the master, and the master resurrected you. Compared to other orphans, I am very happy. Tomorrow I beg master to resurrect my father too, so that our family of 3 can live happily together. All the misfortunes I have experienced in the past have passed. As long as the future is good, that is enough. As he spoke, Naruto smiled. Kushina came over, stretched out her hand to wipe away the tears on Naruto's face, and said softly, yes, a bright future is enough. Okay, go to sleep. Naruto scratched his head and said, Mom, you should go to sleep too. Kushina pinched Naruto's cheek and said with a smile, okay, I know you are a chauvinist, okay. Kushina left Naruto's room. Soon Naruto put on his pajamas and black dog hat and went to sleep with a faint smile on his face and entered his dream. The door opened slightly, and Kushina walked in darkly, her footsteps gentle. She walked to the bed, squatted down, and looked at Naruto's face quietly. Just like that, she kept looking. Third generation, you promised us and my wife that you would take good care of Naruto. Minato and I trust you, but you are so vicious. You are dead and I cannot seek revenge from you, but you still have a son and a grandson. I will repay every bit of the suffering Naruto has suffered to your son and grandson. The next day, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, but Mizuki still hadn't gotten up. He wanted to sleep a little longer, but the rapid knocking on the door completely knocked away his sleepiness. Mizuki was very unhappy. He was busy so late yesterday and it was too much to not let him sleep a little longer today. Master, it's me, Naruto. Mizuki opened the door and asked, why are you looking for me so early in the morning? Naruto was stunned, looked up at the sun in the sky, and said, how early in the morning? Master, don't you watch the time? It's almost noon now. Mizuki said impatiently. Okay, stop being so wordy, why are you looking for me? Naruto licked his face and asked, well, master, you see you have resurrected my mother, but our family is not perfect. Can you also resurrect my father? Mizuki was silent. No. Can't it? Naruto asked anxiously. Mizuki said bluntly. Naruto, your father Namikaze Minato, his situation is somewhat special. For the time being, I cannot resurrect him. Naruto was not discouraged because he heard the word, temporary, in Mizuki's words. Just because you can't be resurrected for now doesn't mean you can't be resurrected in the future. Master, can you tell me the specific reason? Or what conditions are needed? I can help. Mizuki nodded and explained. You may have heard your mother say that before your father died, he used the ghoul seal and used the power of Shinigami to seal the Yin Nine Tails in his own body. Naruto nodded. He had already heard Kushina talk about this in detail. The cost of using ghoul seal is that your soul will be devoured by the Shinigami. Your father's soul is inside Shinigami, so I can't resurrect him for the time being. Naruto asked. Master, you said for the time being, is there a way to solve this problem? Mizuki nodded and replied. There is a way, but it will take at least 3 years. Orochimaru only used living corpse reincarnation once, and he has to wait 3 years before using it again. Moreover, the only one who can block Shinigami bug is Orochimaru. Mizuki wouldn't risk his own life, lest he get away with it. So Naruto, I'm sorry to have to wait 3 years. Naruto didn't care, instead his face was filled with sunshine. Master, there is no need to say sorry. You have given me hope, and I am very satisfied. It's only been 3 years, it passed quickly. Besides, the sudden resurrection of my mother makes me a little uncomfortable living alone. If there is another father, I will definitely collapse. So, let me get along with my mother for 3 years to get used to it. Mizuki smiled and patted Naruto's head. This kid was actually worried that he would feel guilty and deliberately said that he was not used to it. He is full of good intentions and always likes to think about others. What a good boy. After Naruto left, Sasuke came. Can you teach me that technique? Sasuke pointed at the planetary devastation in the sky outside the village, looking forward to it. Mizuki shook his head. That technique is called planetary devastation. It is a Rinnegan-specific eye technique. You can't use the planetary devastation unless your eyes evolve into Rinnegan. Sasuke was disappointed, but he caught the point of Mizuki's words. Rinnegan, is it the evolution of Sharingan? Mizuki nodded. Having said this, Mizuki decided to tell Sasuke the evolutionary path of Sharingan. Ordinary Sharingan, from 1 Magatama to 3 Magatama, you know that. After 3 Magatama, Sharingan evolves again and will become Mangekyo Sharingan. After turning on Mangekyo Sharingan, a pupil technique will be awakened in each eye. The reason why it is called Mangekyo Sharingan is because each person's evolved eyes are different, and the awakened eye technique is also different. For example, Uchiha Itachi, the pupil technique in his left eye is Genjutsu Tsukuyomi, and the pupil technique in his right eye is Amaterasu's Flame. And Uchiha Shisui, the evolved Mangekyo Sharingan, awakened the pupil technique called Distinguished Heavenly Gods, which is known as the strongest Genjutsu. Your father also activated the Mangekyo Sharingan, but I don't know about his pupil technique. In addition, after opening the Mangekyo Sharingan, you can also use Susanoo. The giant formed by the combination of pupil power and chakra, integrating attack and defense, is the ultimate power of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke listened, his eyes full of yearning. He couldn't wait to evolve his 3-Tomo Sharingan into Mangekyo Sharingan immediately. He was very excited when he thought that after possessing the pupil technique in Susanoo, he could kill Danzo and destroy Konoha. So he asked, how can 3-Tomo Sharingan evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan? Mizuki smiled without hiding it. The way to unlock Mangekyo is to watch the people closest to you die in front of your eyes. Only strong mental and emotional stimulation can unlock powerful power. Sasuke's pupils narrowed suddenly. The excitement in my heart immediately faded away. He knew the feeling and the pain of watching the person closest to him die in front of his eyes. He doesn't want to open Mangekyo Sharingan. Mizuki continued, while the Mangekyo Sharingan is powerful, its use comes with huge risks. Every time you use the pupil technique, your pupil power will be consumed, and the pupil power cannot be restored. With increased use, vision becomes blurred until eventually complete blindness occurs. Sasuke's brows furrowed. Mizuki continued, to avoid the risk of blindness, Mangekyo Sharingan must evolve again and become Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. With Eternal Mangekyo, the power of the eyes is endless. Sasuke asked. The conditions for opening the Eternal Mangekyo should be more stringent, right? Mizuki nodded. Yes, if you want to obtain Eternal Mangekyo, you must transplant your brother's Mangekyo Sharingan into your own eyes. Uchiha Madara once transplanted the eyes of his younger brother Uchiha Izuna, thus opening the Eternal Mangekyo. His strength skyrocketed and he became a man as famous as first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Sasuke was shocked and couldn't help but ask, did Uchiha Madara kill his brother? Don't blame him for asking, because he was afraid that Uchiha Itachi would be the same as Uchiha Madara. Mizuki shook his head. No, Uchiha Izuna was killed by the second Hokage. Madara loves his younger brother very much. The two brothers have a very good relationship. Sasuke's face was expressionless, but he was relieved in his heart. Mizuki continued, the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is not the end yet. The next level up is the Rinnegan. But the opening of Rinnegan involves the two sons of Sage of Six Paths. The story is very long. I want to go back to the house and take a nap, so I won't go into details. He yawned and prepared to go back to the house. Sasuke stopped him and asked, your left eye is the Eternal Mangekyo. As far as I know, you are not from the Uchiha clan and you have no biological brothers. So, there must be other ways to open it. Mizuki shook his head and said, my method is not suitable for you. Well, if there is a chance, I can give you a pair of Eternal Mangekyo. After saying that, Mizuki closed the door, walked into the room and lay down on the bed. Ah, sleeping is the most comfortable. I really hope to sleep until I wake up naturally every day. After thinking for a while, he got up again and separated a shadow clone. If you have anything to do, take care of it and let me have a good sleep. Shadow clone was also yawning, and said with resentment on his face, you are going too far, body. Why should you let me work for you while you sleep? Mizuki's main body. I am my main body, and whatever I say is what I say, so please stop being wordy. By the way, the Seven-Tails Jinchuriki named Fu is trying to keep her in Phoenix Village. If she really doesn't want to, then let Seven-Tails stay. Save her life, a little reward is not too much. Shadow Clone nodded helplessly and walked out of the door. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Tsunade coming with Nawaki. What do you two want from me? Tsunade said nothing, but raised his chin slightly and gestured to Nawaki. Nawaki stepped forward, bowed, and said respectfully, please accept me as your disciple and teach me the secret technique of wood style. Shadow Clone was stunned and asked, have you awakened the wood style bloodline limit? Nawaki said, yes. Shadow Clone was overjoyed, and in the room, Mizuki's body, who was half asleep, sat up directly. Wood style, ha ha ha, great, whatever is missing is what you get. Now you don't have to worry about low construction efficiency. The main body quickly changed clothes, rushed out of the door, and pushed Shadow Clone aside. The poor Shadow Clone flew away, hit his foot on a stone pillar, and then his head fell directly into the soil and disappeared with a bang. You want me to be your master, right? Okay, I agree. He took out a seal scroll and said, take it, this is a meeting gift from my master. It contains 50 million taels of money. Spend whatever you want. Nawaki took the scroll with trembling hands. This master is so incompetent. Wood style is very powerful, but you have to practice it step by step, starting with simple techniques. He took out a ninjutsu scroll, handed it to Nawaki, and said, let's start with this jutsu. Nawaki spread out the scroll in excitement. Wood style. 4-pillar house technique. Its function is to build a house. Why don't I remember that my grandfather invented this ninjutsu? Nawaki looked confused. Tsunade on the side couldn't help but twitch his eyebrows. She clenched her fists, showing signs of attack. Mizuki said, don't underestimate any ninjutsu. Practicing this technique can effectively improve your wood style ability. The more exquisite the house you build and the more detailed the structure, the stronger your ability to control the wood-style chakra. Besides, you will like this technique when you spend the night in the wild in the future. He secretly thought it was a pity. Although Naoki has been accepted as a disciple, the system does not recognize it and cannot trigger the return. Naoki held the scroll and was very happy. He read it as he walked and muttered, memorizing the order of the seals. Tsunade on the side is also holding a scroll. The one who holds the money. For the sake of money, she endured it and did not choose to have an attack. Looking at the two siblings walking away, Mizuki chuckled. This is really a sleepy time. Someone gave me a pillow. Naoki soon started practicing the four-pillar house technique. At first, the house he made was shabby and crooked, but as he practiced, the house became more and more beautiful. This obvious improvement gave him more motivation to practice. He became interested in architectural aesthetics. As time went by, he was no longer satisfied with practicing in a clearing in the woods. He set his sights on the planned building land in Fenghuang village. Such a big place is enough for you to bring your architectural aesthetics to the ultimate level. At the same time, news spread from Rain Shinobi village. One-tailed Jinchuriki, Seven-tails Jinchuriki, and Nine-tails Jinchuriki all fell into the hands of Phoenix village Mizuki. Mizuki collects the nine-tailed beasts and prepares to start the fourth ninja war. He wants to break the one country one village system, he wants to unify the ninja world, and he wants to be the king of all ninjas. The news spread at an extremely fast speed, and everyone knew about it, whether it was a big country or a small country. The Seven-tails Jinchuriki of Taki Ninja Village was kidnapped. It turned out to be Mizuki's doing. This Mizuki is really vicious. It's not enough for him to kill the fourth Kage and the third Hokage. He also wants to capture the nine-tailed beasts. Such a person should be punished. I heard that he was an orphan and grew up in Konoha. In the end, he betrayed Konoha and killed the third Hokage. Such a person is really a wolf-hearted person. Konoha was attacked by Mizuki again, and the Hokage building was destroyed. In addition to Rain Shinobi Village, Konoha is also promoting Mizuki's negative remarks. Sand Shinobi also spoke up, saying that Mizuki was a despicable for seducing the son of the fourth Kage. He also said that Sand Shinobi sent people to negotiate, but they were all killed by Mizuki. For a time, the entire ninja world was scolded, and Mizuki was nailed to the pillar of shame and became synonymous with evil. The news reached the bird country, and Mizuki smiled lightly after hearing it. Naruto said angrily, "Master, they slandered you like this, I'm going to teach them a lesson. I want to expose the insidious face of the third Hokage, as well as Sand Shinobi Village. They are clearly attacking us, but in the end they are the victims. It's just too much." Mizuki comforted him. Okay, let others say it, it won't cause any harm to me. The tricks of these villains can only show that they are useless cowards. They dare not fight with real swords and guns. They only dare to make beeps. Arguing with such people will only lower our noble sentiments. Kushina frowned. Having said that, people's words are scary. What if everyone believes it and forms a ninja coalition to attack Phoenix Village? Mizuki smiled and said, "Don't worry, it won't happen. Konoha Village and Sand Shinobi Village don't dare. Cloud Shinobi Village and Rock Shinobi Village Jinchuriki are intact, so they can only watch the show. Mist Shinobi Village is isolated overseas, and they don't know if the Blood Mist policy will end, so they have too much time to take care of themselves. The 5 major ninja villages will not move, and the other small ninja villages will not dare to do anything wrong. So, no need to worry. Besides, even if the 5 major countries really form a ninja alliance, I'm not afraid. Even if we can't defeat them, we just have to hide in a hidden place with a small number of us. Everyone. Cloud Shinobi Village, Cloud Shadow's office. Neatly arranged floor-to-ceiling windows provide ample light, making the entire office bright, without any dark corners. Luxurious leather sofas exude luxury. Fourth Hokage was sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed and one hand resting on the armrest of the sofa. The whole body is full of muscles. Mabuyi stood aside, wearing a secretary's short skirt and work clothes, very smart. The V-shaped collar, paired with a red-edged and black grid-patterned tube top, is slightly conservative yet full of charm. She was holding a folder in her hand and doing a work report. Lord Hokage, this is the information about Phoenix Village and first-generation Hokage Mizuki. Konoha's intelligence control is very strict. We don't have detailed information about the battle on the roof of the Chunin exam, so we can't make a detailed analysis of Mizuki's strength and abilities. Hokage tapped the armrest of the sofa with his left hand, as if thinking. A newly built small Phoenix Village actually has three-tailed beasts. This is unreasonable. I have over 20,000 ninjas in Cloud Shinobi Village, but I only have two-tailed beasts. This is so unfair. Mizuki should give me two-tailed beasts in Cloud Shinobi Village. This is only fair. No, all three-tailed beasts should be given to us. No, it's still wrong. Those three-tailed beasts are originally from Cloud Shinobi Village. Contact the daimyo immediately and declare war on the Kingdom of Birds. Our Cloud Shinobi Village also dispatched 300 ninjas to attack Phoenix Village, and we must take back the tailed beasts. Mabuyi, Hokage-sama, calm down. I said loudly. Those are three-tailed beasts, how do you want me to calm down? Azabu said without changing his expression. The Kingdom of Thunder and the Kingdom of Birds are too far apart, and there is also the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Earth in between. If we move, Konoha Village and Rock Shinobi Village will also move, and it will easily lead to a melee. Even if we catch Jinchuriki, we will easily be intercepted on the way back to the Land of Thunder. Hokage frowned. Mabuyi's words made sense. It seems a bit foolish to cross several countries to attack the country of birds. Mabuyi added. Let's talk about Mizuki. He has a terrifying record of fighting 3rd Hokage, 4th Hokage, and Orochimaru alone, and killing 3 of them. He was also responsible for the bombing of Konoha's Hokage building this time. He walked away afterwards. Konoha had nothing to do with him. Such a ruthless person, we have to be careful when trying to make plans for him. Hokage was very reluctant. Those are three-tailed beasts, 3, Mabuyi. Otherwise, I will go there in person, along with with fewer people, pretend to be a caravan and sneak into the Kingdom of Birds, attack Phoenix Village without anyone noticing, and snatch Jinchuriki away before other countries notice. Although that Mizuki is not weak, he will definitely die if B and I join forces. Mabuyi. My Lord Hokage, you are dreaming. 3rd Hokage, 4th Hokage plus Orochimaru, the 3 Hokage level powerhouses are no match for Mizuki. Are you a little overconfident? At the same time, in the Kingdom of Earth, the conference room. 3rd Tsuchikage 2 Scale Onoki is sitting at the top, with Lois and Black Soil standing behind him. The other clan chief advisors also sat in their seats. This is an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. 1 tail, 7 tails, 9 tails, they should all be our Rock Shinobi Village. The Kingdom of Birds and the Kingdom of Earth are adjacent to each other. They are so close. If we send our troops now, we will be able to conquer Phoenix Village tomorrow. In 3 days, the three-tailed beasts will become part of our village. Tsuchikage-sama, give the order. Onoki is short in stature, but very powerful. He shook his head and said, although I haven't seen Mizuki's strength with my own eyes, he can win the title of Twin Shadow Killer. He is definitely not a weakling. He took 9 Tails Jinchuriki away from Konoha, but Konoha did not send out ninjas to take it back. This is enough to show that Konoha is afraid of Mizuki's strength. So, don't act rashly. The longer people live, the more cautious they become. Onoki is not a muscle brainer like Hokage. He will think carefully about everything and weigh the pros and cons. In the Land of Wind, Sand Shinobi Village, the 5th Hokage has not yet been selected, and the top management is seizing power. The hundreds of Sand Shinobi sent to Phoenix Village to seize one-tail Jinchuriki Gaara also became victims of the power grab. The Kingdom of Water is isolated overseas and pays no attention to news from the outside world. None of the 5 major ninja villages made any move, and the smaller ninja villages didn't even dare to have any evil intentions. Rain Shinobi Village, above the tower. Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan chatted for a long time, and quarrels broke out from time to time, but they soon returned to calm. I don't know how long it took, but the 3 of them finished their discussion and finalized the new Akatsuki organization's plan. Konan followed Yahiko and left, leaving Nagato sitting quietly on a chair, looking at the drizzle outside the window. At this time, Space Wrinkles and Uchiha Obito appears. His face was hidden behind a mask, so even the Rinnegans couldn't see through it. Nagato, you're shaken. Nagato said calmly. Yahiko is the leader of the Akatsuki organization. He was before and he is now. After discussion, the Akatsuki organization's original plan to capture the tailed beasts remains unchanged. But the final plan was no longer implemented and was changed to mediation. After the collection of the 9 tailed beasts is completed, I will become the new sage of 6 paths as 10 tails Jinchuriki. The Akatsuki organization at that time possessed absolute power that surpassed the ninja world. But the Akatsuki organization will not rule the ninja world, but will supervise and regulate as an existence beyond the ninja world. Monitor all countries and shinobi villages. If a war breaks out, the Akatsuki organization will stand up immediately and mediate. If mediation cannot be done, it will be suppressed by force. After listening to Nagato's story, Obito secretly breathed a sigh of relief under the mask. As long as the plan to collect tailed beasts remains unchanged, everything else doesn't matter. Anyway, in the end, it's not you Nagato who has the final say. That Mizuki, I will deal with him and bring the 3 Jinchuriki with me. In addition, without Kakuzu and Hidan, the Akatsuki organization is short of personnel and needs to be replenished as soon as possible. After Mizuki is dead, we can go check out Zabuza, the user of the decapitating sword. After Obito finished speaking, the space vortex appeared and sucked him in. Nagato looked at the place where Obito disappeared. He originally wanted to remind Obito not to go, it would be better to leave Mizuki to help collect the tailed beasts. But the words came to his lips but were not spoken. Although his time and space ninjutsu is weird, Mizuki also masters time and space ninjutsu. In a real fight, he may not be Mizuki's opponent. He has another conspiracy. He is not the same as us after all. If he dies in Mizuki's hands, it wouldn't be a bad thing. There was no movement in the big and small ninja villages, they were all watching. In Phoenix Village, with the addition of Nawaki, a master of wood-style construction, the construction speed of the village increased 100 times. Houses are rising one after another, and the real estate developers are so efficient that they kneel down and call them grandpa. In a certain room in the Hokage building, a girl was sleeping on a recliner. 2 sparrows flew outside the window, standing on the windowsill and chirping. The girl's eyelids moved slightly and slowly opened. This is where, Akatsuki organization. Fu woke up. Looking at the unfamiliar environment around her, and thinking that she was attacked by people from the Akatsuki organization last night, she subconsciously thought that this was the base of the Akatsuki organization. You finally woke up. This is Phoenix Village, the country of birds, not the Akatsuki organization. It was first-generation Master Fengying who rescued you. After hearing the sound, Fu turned around and saw a beautiful young lady with long black hair and straight hair in a kimono standing at the door. First-generation Hokage, Mizuki. Fu breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that he didn't fall into the hands of the Akatsuki organization. The Akatsuki organization attacked her twice. During the battle, Deidara's gossip had already made his purpose clear. They came for 7 tails. Fu was terrified at the thought of 7 tails being pulled out of her body. She knew clearly that she would die after the tailed beast was pulled away. Miss, my name is Fu, what's your name? Then he praised again. You are so beautiful. Bai was not surprised and had long been used to it, so he said calmly, sorry, I'm a man. Ah, a man. Fu didn't believe it, so she looked towards Bai's throat, and sure enough she saw the raised Adam's apple. Oh, what a shame. When my little brother looks like this, I don't know how many men will be sad. Shiro did not answer, but said, come with me, Mizuki-sama wants to see you. Soon, Fu meets Mizuki. Fu from Taki Ninja Village, I saved you from the Akatsuki organization, but I didn't save you for nothing. Now you have 2 choices. The first choice is to leave Taki Ninja Village, join Phoenix Village, and worship me as your teacher. Fu immediately shook her head and said, no, I was born and raised in Takinen Village. The villagers did not dislike me because I am a Jinchuriki. They are all very kind to me, so I cannot betray my village. So I give up this choice. Mizuki nodded and said, the second option is to leave the 7 tails Chome in your body in Phoenix Village, and then leave on your own. Fu's face paled and she looked at Mizuki warily. If you want a tailed beast, just say so. If you say anything, I will leave on my own. Don't you know that Jinchuriki will die after being separated from the tailed beast? Mizuki smiled. Of course I know, but it doesn't matter. If you die, I will resurrect you, so there is no conflict. Fu's eyes widened. Stop joking, this joke is not funny at all. Okay, now that I'm in your hands, I can't do anything you want. There's no need to make excuses to fool me. It's impossible for me to betray the village, so if you want to kill me and get 7 tails, just do it. Having said that, this little girl is not someone who accepts her fate. The next moment, she opened her mouth and sprayed out a piece of phosphorescent-colored phosphorus powder, which instantly filled the entire Feng Ying office. Secret Technique Scale Pink Hidden Technique. This technique has the effect of paralyzing the enemy's movement and obstructing the enemy's sight. The enemy is contaminated with phosphorus powder, and Fu can use this to track the enemy. After spraying the phosphorus powder, wings appeared from Fu's back and flew toward the open window to escape. Hey, little girl, why don't you believe what I say? Universal pull. Unlock the seal on her body and extract the 7 tails from her body. Kushina nodded and agreed. Fu wanted to escape, but of course it was impossible. At this time, she had fallen into an illusion and couldn't help herself. She is not a perfect Jinchuriki and has no resistance to Sharingan Genjutsu. 7 tails is a tailed beast after all, and it is huge. Of course, it is impossible to break the seal in the village. So Mizuki came to an open space outside the village, and other people came to watch the fun. Let's start, Mizuki said. Kushina comes to Fu. Taki Ninja Village has good relations with Konoha, and Konoha helped complete the seal of 7 tails. Konoha's sealing techniques all come from the Uzumaki clan. Kushina's understanding and mastery of sealing techniques can be regarded as the strongest in the ninja world. Like Naruto, is it also sealed by the 4 elephants? Kushina felt no pressure, her hands formed a seal, and her red hair floated. After completing the seal, she pressed her right hand on Fu's belly. The seal of the 4 elephants, break it. The seal was lifted, and the 7 tails chakra in Fu's body immediately rolled out like thick smoke. 7 tails consciousness also followed chakra, breaking away from the seal and coming to the outside world. Soon, a giant insect appeared in front of everyone. This is 7 tails chome, which looks like a fusion of a beetle and a dragonfly. It has antennae on its head, 6 wings, and a slender tail. It looks very different. Mizuki feels that this thing is a bit like an alien, but the difference is that it has no legs and more wings. When all the chakras were released from the seals and 7 tails became a complete body, they immediately went berserk. Humans, you all deserve to die. Although, it has a good relationship with Fu, and even lends its power to Fu. But this does not mean that its resentment disappears. Fu is not a perfect Jinchuriki. 7 tails chome has been sealed, and the hatred for humans has accumulated in her heart and has not been eliminated. Now that chome is out, the first thing to do is kill people. Kushina raised her eyebrows, her red hair fluttered, and adamantine sealing chains was ready to move. No hurry, let me do it. Mizuki said calmly. The next moment, the left eye Eternal Mangekyo opened, chome had no ability to resist, and fell directly into the illusion. Its eyes took on the appearance of a Sharingan. Kushina frowned when she saw this scene. She recalled some very unpleasant memories. Mizuki explained. That incident 12 years ago has nothing to do with me. Sasuke knows the identity of the masked man. You can ask him when you have time. Kushina turned to look at Sasuke. Fugaku and Makoto's younger son. At this time, Tsunade stepped forward and said, Mizuki, the tailed beast is too dangerous and cannot be left like this. If the illusion is released and escapes, the casualties will be immeasurable. Mizuki nodded and said, I understand. Before dealing with 7 tails, I will resurrect her first. Mizuki looked at Fu who lost her breath and cast the Rinne Tensai technique. Soon, Fu came back to life, looking at 7 tails in front of her, and then around, with a confused look on her face. Why am I still alive? If the tailed beast is pulled away, won't Jinchuriki die? Mizuki said calmly. I said that I will resurrect you, but you don't believe it. Okay, I have taken the reward for saving you, you can go. Fuke said. Let's go. Where to go? Back to Taki Ninja Village. I lost 7 tails. I will be blamed to death by the village chief brother when I go back. You can only return 7 taels to me before I can go back, otherwise I won't be able to leave. This little girl has a good personality, very lively and cheerful, and is considered an alternative among the Jinchuriki. She was not discriminated against in Takanen village, and the villagers were very kind to her. Unlike other Jinchuriki, they have been ostracized since childhood and no one cares about them. Mizuki smiled and said, if you don't want to leave, just don't leave. Phoenix Village has just been built and there are few people. I hope you stay. But one thing I want to explain is that removing the tailed beast from your body is not a bad thing for you or the Taki Ninja Village. The Akatsuki organization has targeted the tailed beasts. Even if you take 7 tails back, the Akatsuki organization will find you again, and even the entire Taki Ninja Village will be implicated. You were lucky enough to meet me this time, but you may not be so lucky next time. Although I smoked 7 tails, I can still save your life. If it falls into the hands of the Akatsuki organization, your life will be at stake. Fu whispered, it seems that this is the truth. The entrance to our village has been found, and it is indeed unsafe. However, you have to tell my brother, the village chief, this in person, otherwise I will have no shame in going back. Look, 7 taels is now yours. You won't refuse to agree to this small request. Mizuki asked, then will you stay here or go back to Taki Ninja Village? Fu said, of course I'm going back. I don't want to be a rebellious ninja. And the people in the village are so kind to me, so I want to go back and protect them. Mizuki nodded and said, okay, when I'm free, I'll take you back in person. But, since you lost your tailed beast, you may not be able to protect the villagers. Why don't you worship me as your teacher? I can teach you powerful ninjutsu. In this way, although you have lost 7 tails, under my guidance, you will soon gain enough strength to protect Taki Ninja Village. Quote, everyone in Phoenix Village. What's wrong? Why do our village chiefs like to have apprentices so much? What are the benefits of being a teacher? In addition to weekends, winter and summer vacations, 5 insurances and 1 housing fund, what else does a teacher have? Really, are you really willing to teach me ninjutsu? Fu looked surprised, but then turned hesitant. No, you are a traitorous ninja of Konoha and have a grudge against Konoha, and our Taki Ninja Village has a very good relationship with Konoha. If I become your apprentice, I will offend Konoha. When Konoha becomes angry and attacks Taki Ninja Village, there will be trouble. Mizuki said, this is not simple. You secretly accept me as your teacher and don't let Konoha know. Fu still shook her head. No, it still won't work, you will be discovered. Mizuki frowned, wouldn't you agree to this? The reason why Mizuki wants to accept everyone he meets as a disciple is because Mizuki's vision has never been limited to a small ninja world. He knew that the ninja world beneath his feet was just a living planet in the universe. There are many races of life in the universe. The most terrifying among them is undoubtedly the Otsutsuki clan. The Otsutsuki clan searched for living planets and planted sacred trees. The sacred tree will swallow all life on the living planet and bear the fruit of the sacred tree. After eating the fruit of the sacred tree, Otsutsuki will complete the jump in life level and become the god of Otsutsuki. The ninja world has long been dominated by the Otsutsuki clan. Thousands of years ago, Otsutsuki Ashiki and Otsutsuki Kagaya came and planted the fruit of the sacred tree. Although Mizuki has never watched Boruto, he also knows some names: Otsutsuki Kim, Otsutsuki Momoshiki, Otsutsuki Pushi, Otsutsuki Ichiraku. Therefore, Mizuki did not feel relaxed because of the improvement in strength. His current strength can be regarded as Super Kage level, and there is still a long way to go before 6 Paths level. Any Otsutsuki would have no chance of winning. Although the ninjutsu ability is weird and you can escape if you can't defeat it, blindly escaping is not the solution to the problem after all. He needs stronger strength, enough strength to deal with all crises. Therefore, he must recruit more disciples and use the system to quickly strengthen himself. Although the system's apprenticeship quota is full and new apprentices cannot be granted refunds, it doesn't matter. Accept them first, then wait until the number of apprentices in the system increases, and then you can start harvesting them directly. Mizuki thought for a moment and took out a scroll. This scroll contains 50 million taels of money. If you become my disciple, all the money will be yours. And if you are short of money in the future, you can ask me for it. I, Mizuki, have nothing but the kind of person who has a lot of money and can't spend it all. Fu's eyes widened in disbelief. Others, like Tsunade, turned away, shameless. Even Naruto had black lines in his head and despised Mizuki in his heart. To use money to seduce an ignorant girl who has no experience in the world is really too much. 50 million taels. Even the daimyo of Taki country cannot afford so much money. Fu's heartbeat suddenly accelerated. How about you, do you want to be my apprentice? Mizuki held the scroll and tossed it up and down in his hand, making it dazzling. Fu looked solemn and said, well, I'm not doing it for money. I just think that we are very similar. We both have such bold and generous personalities. Can I take a look at the scroll? Well, I really don't do it for money. Everyone turned away, even feeling embarrassed. Fu didn't care what anyone thought. As long as I am not embarrassed, others will be embarrassed. Mizuki threw the scroll directly, and Fu caught it, holding it tightly with both hands, her arms still shaking. After checking, she confirmed that Mizuki was really here, so. Enter the most handsome, super handsome and invincibly handsome master in the ninja world, and your most adorable disciple Fu Shen. Mizuki couldn't help but nodded and said, not bad, you are very discerning. Everyone, as long as I'm not embarrassed. After accepting his apprentice, Mizuki was very happy and said loudly, I will treat everyone to a big dinner tonight, a super delicious dinner. Upon hearing the food, Naruto became excited and asked, what kind of feast is it? Mizuki said, it's something you've never tasted before, called hot pot. Once you taste it, you'll definitely fall in love with it. Okay, everyone disperse now, I'm going to seal 7 taels. After everyone dispersed, Mizuki clapped his hands and shouted, Ninpo. Planetary devastation. A large amount of earth and rocks floated up from the ground, tightly wrapping 7 taels, forming a huge ball that rose to 1,000 meters in the air. That way, no one can steal it. 7 taels, Mizuki is ready to leave Nobita. However, Nobita's chakra is too small to effectively seal the head, so it is temporarily sealed and will be sealed again after Nobita's chakra is increased. The same goes for 1 tael. Sasuke's chakra is not enough to seal the leader, so he needs to wait. Everyone looked at the planetary devastation in the sky and sighed in their hearts at Mizuki's power. Fu was even more stunned. The ninja in my memory should not be like this. Okay, let's go and do whatever we need to do. We've finished watching the fun. At this time, Gaara said, well, can you help me take out the 1 tael? I really want to sleep. Okay, let's do it again. Kushina, please. Kushina nodded, repeated her old trick, and lifted the seal for Gaara. Sand burst out of Gaara's body crazily. Soon, a monster made of sand appeared in front of everyone. 1 tael Shukaku is chubby and looks cute. Aha! Finally out. After Shukaku came out, he immediately looked up to the sky and cheered. Naruto wondered, is it so happy? It's completely different from 9 taels. In the sealed space, 9 taels couldn't help but snorted. At this moment, Shukaku turned his head suddenly and stared directly at Naruto. Yeah, the breath of a stinky fox, haha, I'm out, but the stinky fox can't come out, that's great. Kill the medium who stinks of fox, let the stinky fox die, yeah. Its claws were pointed directly at Naruto. 1 tael and 9 taels have never been dealt with. 9 taels looks down on 1 tael, and 1 tael is dissatisfied with 9 taels. The strange thing is that 1 tael is not weak in strength. He masters wind-style ninjutsu and can also seal. Among the 9-tailed beasts, he is second only to 9 taels and 8 taels. As soon as Shukaku came out, he immediately noticed the chakra aura of 9 taels on Naruto, so he was happy. Inside Naruto, 9 taels opened his eyes, his face full of anger. The next moment, Naruto's consciousness was pulled outside the iron fence. Hey, why did I suddenly appear here? Hey, 9 taels, is it your fault? 9 taels said, little brat, I will lend you my power and teach that stupid civet cat with a bad mouth a lesson. I get angry when I see it. Quickly use my chakra, press it to the ground and beat it for 3 days. Naruto asked, both are tailed beasts, your relationship doesn't seem to be going well. The fire of 8 trigrams burned brightly in Naruto's eyes. 9 taels roared angrily, little brat, are you even listening to me? Naruto took his time. That civet cat calls you a stinky fox, and you call it a stupid civet cat. Do you two have a big grudge? That raccoon cat is quite cute and has a happy personality. How about you give me some face and forgive it? Nine Tails. Shut up, kid. Your 9 tails are the big brother, and his 1 tail is the little brother. As the big brother, you should be more open-minded. Don't worry, I will also persuade him to respect you as his big brother. 9 Tails. Get out of here. But Naruto kept chattering. I finally came in and just wanted to chat with you more. After all, you are quite lonely here alone. Say something, I just want to make one more friend. By the way, I know who my mother is. Do you know who your mother is? Humans are born from humans, and foxes are born from foxes. As long as you make friends with humans, you are no longer a fox, but a human fox. What's your mother's last name? 9 Tails' expression gradually lost control. It regrets nothing. Is there something wrong with my brain? Why did I take the initiative to bring this hateful brat closer to my consciousness? 6 Paths old man, please come out and judge, what evil has this uncle done? It couldn't stand it anymore, so it blocked its ears with chakra, blocking out Naruto's voice. It is quiet now, wind style, practice blank ammunition. Shukaku slapped his belly with his paws and opened his mouth to spray empty bullets. You have quite a hot temper, but you'd better be quiet in front of me. Mizuki directly activated Sharingan and instantly controlled Shukaku with Genjutsu. Immediately afterwards, planetary devastation was released again, sealing Shukaku into the sky. With 3 huge planetary devastations floating thousands of meters in the sky, Phoenix Village has successfully created its own unique and spectacular scenery. Immediately afterwards, Mizuki resurrected Gaara. The things in front of me are finally finished. However, there is much more to it. After all the fun, let's go. Sasuke, come with me. Sasuke has another opportunity to give back this month, and Mizuki has already planned what to give. Sasuke followed Mizuki to the office. How is your chakra control ability training going? Mizuki asked. Sasuke replied, it's fast. I can do the seal with one hand in half a month at most. That's when I can learn to apparate. Mizuki smiled and nodded. I have to say, Sasuke is a genius. This efficiency is amazing. This time I went to Konoha and got a forbidden technique from the Uchiha clan. Izanagi. Sasuke's face turned serious when he heard that it was from the Uchiha clan. Izanagi is a life-saving technique. After it is activated, it will turn the things that are not good for you in the next period of time into phantoms, and only choose the things that are good for you to turn into reality. But since it is a forbidden technique, there is a risk. After using Izanagi, your eyes will go blind. The reason why Danzo transplanted so many Sharingan is to use Izanagi. Hearing the word Danzo, murderous intent flashed in Sasuke's eyes. Mizuki took out the scroll. This belongs to the Uchiha clan, I will return it to you. Sasuke took the scroll. Ding. Host grants disciple Uchiha Sasuke the Izanagi training scroll, triggering a 1111 times return. Host obtains Izanagi. Change. Mizuki was speechless. Has the system become lazy? I don't even bother to think of the names of the returned items, right? Just add the word, change, at the end, who are you fooling? Izanagi. Modification. The effect remains unchanged after use, but the side effects are greatly reduced. Each Sharingan can be used for Izanagi for 100 minutes in total, and can be turned off at any time during use. A single Sharingan will only become blind after using Izanagi for 100 minutes. Mizuki's eyes lit up. Well done. From the previous one-time function, it has been changed to the current one that can be turned on and off at any time. 100 minutes, if you plan carefully, you may not be blind if you use one eye until death. Thank you, Master. I will definitely make good use of this technique. Sasuke thanked him sincerely. Mizuki immediately said, no, this scroll is not for you to practice. This technique has been improved by me, and the side effects have been greatly reduced. System. Host, you are so shameless. Did you improve it? Mizuki was unmoved. Come, I will teach you the improved Izanagi, please listen carefully. Learned from Izanagi. Change. Sasuke's strength immediately increased dramatically. If this technique is used properly, it will definitely have miraculous effects. Why Danzo was able to take away one of Shisui's eyes was because of Izanagi. The reason why Uchiha Madara lives longer than Hashirama is because of Izanagi. 100 minutes for each eye, 200 minutes for both eyes. Continuously avoiding death for 200 minutes may make the enemy's mentality collapse. This month, Naruto and Sasuke's return opportunities have been exhausted, and Nobita has one left. To be honest, Mizuki no longer expects to return anything good from Nobita. But after all, he is his disciple, and he should still be taken care of. Nobita's chakra volume has now reached Jonin level, but this is far from enough. Mizuki planned to seal Seven Tails Chome into Nobita's body. Jinchuriki, there must be a massive amount of chakra, otherwise the leader cannot be effectively sealed. Give him the hero's water, and then give him the returned hero's water to drink to increase his chakra dozens of times. Mizuki felt that it was not the right time. Nobita's chakra has another one card, even if it is increased 50 times, that's it. Forget it, let's give him ramen, and then give him the hero water after his chakra base increases. Mizuki found Nobita again and asked him to eat ramen. Nobita ate 2 bowls of ramen. The first bowl was given by Mizuki, and the second bowl was given to him by Mizuki after the system returned it. Chakra capacity is once again increased by 1 Kakashi. In the afternoon, Mizuki sent Shadow Clone to the capital of Bird Country to purchase a large amount of seasonings and ingredients. After the ingredients are purchased, they are processed with more than a dozen Shadow Clone. After dark, Mizuki gathered everyone together and treated everyone to a buffet hot pot. You can choose whatever flavor you want to eat. The bottom of the pot is spicy, so you can mix the dipping sauce there. Naruto, put less soy sauce, it's very salty. There are both meat and vegetables, so you can add whatever you like. The beef louvers must be picked up in 15 seconds, otherwise they will become old and unpalatable. The fat beef can be eaten when it changes color, the hanging dragon only takes 8 seconds, the beef balls can be eaten when they float on the water, and the shrimp sliders can be divided into small pieces with a spoon. Everyone had a great time eating. I am used to eating bland food, but now eating spicy hot pot is a bit intolerable. Some call it numbing, and some call it spicy. It was a little painful and resisting at first, but soon it became so exciting that I couldn't stop, and even wanted to scream loudly. Seeing everyone in pain and happiness, frantically putting vegetables into their bowls, Mizuki nodded. It seems that hot pot is still very popular. In this case, the future prosperity of Fenghuang village will be driven by hot pot first. After eating and drinking, everyone dispersed and the task of cleaning up was given to Naruto. Who told him to eat the most? Naruto left his job to Shadow Clone and went home to chat with his mother. Mizuki opened the door and entered the house while thinking about future hot pot plans. After washing, he went directly to the bedroom and fell asleep. The purring soon started. A figure poked his head out from the floor, and then the whole figure floated up. It was Obito, who came from Rain Shinobi village. As a ninja, you can sleep so peacefully, Obito said with contempt in his heart, came to the bed, activated Kamui, and wanted to suck Mizuki into the Kamui's face. But at the next moment, Mizuki suddenly opened his eyes. The eternal Mangekyo has been opened in the left eye, and Obito has been enveloped by the high pupil skills and soul life. Uchiha Obito, I've been waiting for you for a while. The moment you entered the village, I discovered you. Do you really think I fell asleep? Under the mask, Obito's expression changed drastically. How does he know my true identity? The special mask I wear is made of the material of the sacred tree. It blocks out any sensory ninjutsu, and even the Byakugan can't see through it. How on earth did he know that? In an instant, Obito thought of the only possibility. That is, there is a relationship between Mizuki and Uchiha Madara that even he doesn't know about. Because the only one who knows his true identity, besides Uchiha Madara, is Black-White Zetsu. Black and White Zetsu is under the orders of Uchiha Madara, so if Mizuki wants to know his identity, he must have Uchiha Madara's intentions. Is he, like me, Madara's pawn? Wait, he has a Sharingan and a Rinnegan, could he be a direct descendant of Madara? Obito felt that he seemed to have discovered something extraordinary. Oh my goodness, Uchiha Madara, for hiding so much. Catch him and use him as a threat. After Madara is resurrected, force Madara to lift the curse seal in my heart. Why should he activate infinite Tsukuyomi? I, Uchiha Obito, am the true savior and the pioneer who will lead the ninja world to final peace. Obito was very excited at this time. He activated chakra to speed up Kamui's ability to absorb Mizuki. Then he realized something was wrong. What did you do to me? Why did my chakra lose control? Obito's expression changed slightly. To be honest, he was really scared. When Kamui is activated to absorb people or objects, he will exit the hollow state. In other words, he can be attacked now. What's even more troublesome is that he lost control of his own chakra, which resulted in him being unable to use Kamui to enter the hollow state again. Haha, your reaction was a little slow, did you just realize it? You fell into my trap, and now, in my opinion, you are a lamb to be slaughtered. Mizuki looks down on Obito just as much as he looks down on Nagato. They all have a common characteristic, killing the master. Jiraiya has never been sorry to Nagato, and Minato has never been sorry to Obito, but Nagato and Obito didn't hesitate at all when they took action. Even Obito didn't want to let go of the newborn Naruto, which shows how crazy and cruel he is. Yes, Obito's love for Nohara Rin moved countless people. When Lin died, Obito's intense emotional upheaval caused his Sharingan to evolve directly from Namagatama into Mangekyo. You can imagine how he collapsed at that time. But that's all Obito deserves praise for. Therefore, Mizuki would not hesitate at all to kill Obito. Lamb to the slaughter, hee. It seems that you have not recognized the reality. Obito chuckled and seemed unfazed. Although your technique is very powerful, Kamui has already activated it, and it will not stop automatically unless I take the initiative to stop it. What's more, I fell under your spell and lost control of Kamui, so I can't stop it. Obito's tone was tinged with sarcasm. You have been enveloped by Kamui and are about to be sucked into my unique space. You are the lamb to be slaughtered. Indeed, as Obito said, although Obito is shrouded in high soul life, he cannot perform any ninjutsu, illusions, or bloodline limits. But Kamui is indeed not relieved. The twisted space enveloped Mizuki, and the terrifying suction force tried to pull him away. Hee. Mizuki couldn't help but laugh. It's just a space ninjutsu. Do you think I'm helpless? It's just Kamui, let alone one-eyed Kamui, even two-eyed Kamui is nothing. Apparition. Mizuki disappeared on the bed, and was replaced by a Fukuro that happened to fly by the window. Gu. Fukuro shouted in confusion. The next moment, the bed, mattress, quilt, and Fukuro were all sucked into the Kamui space. The whole time, Mizuki kept his eyes on Obito. Gao Yuhanming tightly trapped Obito, leaving him with no chance of Hollow's escape. Uchiha Obito, now, who is the lamb to the slaughter? Who is it that doesn't recognize the reality? The next moment, Mizuki came behind Obito and put his hand on Obito's head. The way of the world. The power of Rinnegan's human world pulled out Obito's soul, which was then swallowed by the King of Hell. The soul was extracted, and Obito's body immediately fell onto Mizuki's bed. Death is not a pity. Mizuki snorted coldly, picked up Obito's body, and prepared to take it out and burn it. But at this moment, Obito's body suddenly disappeared into thin air. The next moment, Obito appeared in the corner of the house, his body having entered the hollow state and sinking directly into the ground. Uchiha Mizuki, I'm coming back for you. After saying that, Obito disappeared. When? This is obviously Izanagi, but Obito has been controlled by Gao Yuhanming, how can he use Izanagi? Is it possible that the high soul life is ineffective against Izanagi? Mizuki couldn't help but become suspicious. However, what puzzles Mizuki even more is why did Obito call me Uchiha Mizuki? With Sharingan it's Uchiha, then should Kakashi be called Uchiha Kakashi? Somewhere in Phoenix, Obito emerged from the ground. He remained in the hollow state and did not dare to materialize at all. The method of killing 3 Hokage and 4th Kazekage, and allowing the Akatsuki organization to repeatedly fail in arresting him, is really weird. If I hadn't been cautious and sacrificed a Sharingan in advance to use Izanagi, I would have really died in his hands just now. I know too little about him and am not familiar with his abilities. If I want to catch him, I must find a way to restrain him. Obito looked at Mizuki's residence from a distance with lingering fear. Although he suffered a defeat at the hands of Mizuki, Obito did not leave immediately. Wouldn't it be a joke to come all the way and go back empty-handed? I can't deal with Mizuki now, but the others are easy. 1 tail and 7 tails are sealed in the air. I can't take them away, but 9 tails is still in Naruto's body. So, Obito turned his target to Naruto. Quietly, he came to Naruto's room and looked at Naruto sleeping soundly on the bed, and he smiled. He came to the bed, body materialized, and reached out to grab Naruto's shoulders. Kamui activated, the suction force enveloped Naruto, and a space vortex appeared. Naruto woke up immediately and asked in surprise, "Who are you?" Obito said coldly, "Nine Tails Jinchuriki, come with me." But the next moment, swish, Obito's hand was empty. Naruto is missing. Mask Man, time and space ninjutsu, you are Uchiha Obito. Naruto stood behind Obito, holding the Flying Thunder God Kunai in his left hand, and the Rasengan in his right hand smashed directly into Obito's back. He actually knows my identity, and he also knows how to Flying Thunder God. Obito was shocked, but felt the chakra fluctuation behind him, and he immediately hollowed his body. The Rasengan passed through Obito's body and was empty. The next moment, the door of the room was broken into pieces, and Kushina walked in, with red hair floating behind her head. "Obito, I've been waiting for you for a long time." Obito looked at Kushina, not too surprised. Yahiko Road is resurrected, and it's no surprise that Kushina is resurrected. The only thing he wonders about is that Mizuki used the Rinne Tensei technique to resurrect others. Why didn't he himself die? "We meet again, Uzumaki Kushina. I didn't expect Mizuki to wantonly use the Rinne Tensei technique to resurrect the dead. He will be punished. Besides, I told you 12 years ago that I am Uchiha Madara, not some Obito." Kushina shouted. "Whether you are Uchiha Madara or Uchiha Obito, you are dead today." "Ha ha ha." Obito laughed and said, "Little girl, who do you think you are? Saying such big words in front of me, Uchiha Madara, do you think you are first Hokage Senju Hashirama?" Kushina looked at Obito coldly. The next moment, dozens of iron ropes sprang out of her body. These iron ropes were like living creatures, wandering on the surface of the floor, walls, and ceiling. In the blink of an eye, the entire room was wrapped in iron ropes and became an airtight room. "Sealing technique. Haha, it doesn't work on me." Obito chuckled, prepared to repeat his old trick, and left through the underground in hollow state. Naruto has mastered the Flying Thunder God, and it is impossible to capture him today. I am determined to win 9 tails, and I will come again next time. After saying that, Obito sank, but the next moment, he found that he couldn't sink. There is some kind of power on the surface of the iron rope that cuts off the space. In fact, this power was transmitted to him along the chain, allowing his hollow body to materialize. The power of space seemed to be beyond his control. Do you think space ninjutsu is invincible? This is my new sealing technique, space blockade. This time, I want to avenge myself, my husband, and the suffering Naruto has suffered for 12 years. Son, kill him. Naruto nodded and appeared next to Obito in an instant, slicing Obito's throat with kunai. Blood spurted out. Kushina breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. At this time, Naruto squatted down to remove Obito's mask, but before his hand could touch Obito, Obito's body disappeared into thin air. The Izanagi performed earlier is not over yet. As a member of the Uchiha clan, Obito's use of Izanagi is much better than Danzo's. Danzo can avoid death once with one eye, but Obito can avoid death for 5 minutes with one eye. 5 minutes have not passed yet. Mom, why is he gone? Kushina frowned, she didn't know what was going on. Outside the house, Obito appeared and was to death again. The face under his mask began to distort. How did Kushina master this sealing technique? If this happens, 9 tails will have no chance. He is not willing to give in. Don't leave empty-handed. So, he turned his attention to Sasuke. Uchiha Itachi's younger brother, capture him and use him to threaten Itachi. Soon, he came to Sasuke's room. At this time, Sasuke was not sleeping, but sitting on the bed refining chakra. Obito quietly came up behind Sasuke and grabbed the back of Sasuke's neck. Kamui started again. "Who?" Sasuke opened his eyes and shouted. Feeling the weirdness in the surrounding space, Sasuke struggled hard, but couldn't break free. "Give up," You have been captured by me and become my pawn. At the critical moment, Sasuke's left eye suddenly opened 3 Magatama, and at the same time the 3 Magatama began to rotate rapidly. The next moment, Sasuke was sucked into the Kamui dimension. Haha, it worked this time. Obito finally felt proud. Now, you can go back. His body hollow, sinks into the ground and disappears. Less than 10 seconds after Obito left, bubbles suddenly appeared on the bed. When the bubble cleared, Sasuke sat on the bed again. Chapter 101. Is he the Uchiha? Obito Mizuki said. What a weird ability. If I hadn't learned the improved Izanagi from Mizuki, I would have been trapped in that space. Izanagi turns everything that is not good for him into nothing, and only keeps the things that are good for him to become reality. The improved Izanagi does not need to form seals, and can be used directly as soon as the thought comes up. Unless you're instantly killed without realizing the danger, it's hard to die. Mizuki said that on the night of the genocide, besides Itachi, there was also Obito. Since I am the enemy of the genocide, then I will take revenge today. Madness flashed across Sasuke's face. The other party is elusive. We must find his traces first. That Uzumaki has the sentient ninjutsu Kagura hard eye, but the way she looked at me and the tone of her voice when she took the initiative to chat with me. Forget it, let's find Hyuga Neji, the Byakugan is better. There is no woman in my heart, so I draw my sword to the god of nature. The great revenge has not been avenged, and Sasuke's heart cannot tolerate love. Naruto's parents were also killed by Obito. If you want to hunt Obito, call Naruto together. He quickly went out and separated into 2 shadow clone, one to call Naruto, one to find Hyuga Neji, and the main body to inform Mizuki. Outside Phoenix Village, Obito emerged from the soil. Although he didn't kill Mizuki and didn't capture Naruto, he captured Sasuke, which wasn't too bad. At least, you don't have to leave empty-handed. At this time, he hadn't realized that Sasuke was not in Kamui's space at all. Time to go. Izanagi's duration is about to end, and something could happen if he doesn't leave. Mizuki's pupil technique is too dangerous. If he encounters danger again, he has no choice but to sacrifice his right eye, Obito's original Sharingan. This is no joke. He exited the hollow state, activated Kamui, and wanted to suck himself into the Kamui space and leave here. At this moment, a voice suddenly shouted from behind, "Hold the pen and drag." Obito's body trembled. Kamui terminated. Is this haunting voice hers? Did Mizuki resurrect her too? He didn't turn to look. Although my heart is full of expectations, I am still more afraid. At this moment, Obito thought of what he had done over the years, and was suddenly afraid of facing Lin. If she asks me, how should I answer? Obito panicked. Just as he was hesitating, Izanagi's duration expired. The alternating power of illusion and reality that enveloped him completely dissipated. Hehe, Obito, you were defeated by a woman after all. Hearing the sound, Obito's expression changed and he immediately wanted to hollow, but it was too late. The chakra in the body is out of control, and all ninjutsu, illusions, and bloodline limits cannot be used. Gao Yuhanming has enveloped him again. Obito turned around and looked at Mizuki with no regrets on his face. Everything I do is for Lin. So, even if I know that you transformed into Lin and lied to me, I am still willing. Just die. It's a pity that I wanted to create a world where Lin will always be there, but now this dream is shattered. With all abilities disabled, Obito knows there is no hope of escape. Therefore, he openly admitted his identity and no longer used the Uchiha Madara vest. He was going to die anyway, so he had to be strong before he died. Mizuki put away the crystal ball in his hand and looked at Obito calmly. Third generation's telescope technique is still very practical. It is very convenient to be able to monitor the whole village while sitting at home. Every move Obito makes is seen by Mizuki. He waited until Obito's Izanagi was over before he took action again. Just now, he had already conducted experiments on Sasuke. After Sasuke is shrouded in high soul life, Sasuke cannot cast Izanagi. From this, Mizuki knew that Obito had cast Izanagi in advance before attacking him. Is this all for Lin? In that case, do you know that Lin's parents died in the Nine Tails Rebellion 12 years ago? As ordinary people in the village, when Nine Tails appeared, they didn't even have a chance to escape. Obito yelled, I said, everything I did was for Lin, what does the life and death of other people have to do with me? Then he changed the subject and said, Mizuki, you are also a rebel ninja of Konoha. Did you kill too few people? Didn't any innocent people die when you caused explosions in Konoha? Even your fiancé was killed by you. Didn't she die for you? You and I are just the same kind of people. What qualifications do you have to accuse me here? Mizuki was speechless. Well, I'm not Naruto, so I don't know how to talk. Yes, my own hands are not clean and stained with the blood of innocent people, so I really have no right to blame Obito. Okay, I'm not qualified, so let someone with qualifications speak out. In the darkness, a figure stepped out. Although the face was shrouded in darkness and it was impossible to see the details, the familiar hairstyle and the haunting figure made Obito immediately confirm that this was Lin. The one eye under the mask had a trembling pupil. Hold the pen and drag it, you have worked hard these years. Lin's voice was gentle. At this moment, all the hatred and hostility in Obito's heart quickly dissipated like morning mist under the rays of the morning sun. In a blink of an eye, the sky is clear and the air is clear. He has confirmed that the person in front of him is the real Lin, and no one can pretend to be her. Mizuki really brought Lin back to life. The purpose is to hold back Obito at the last moment and prevent him from leaving. Lin, thousands of words are choked in my throat, and I can't say a word. Lin walked up to Obito, took off Obito's mask, and looked at Obito's face quietly, also without saying a word. The two of them just stared at each other. At this moment, time seems to have become eternity. Mizuki was aside and did not disturb the two of them, but soon, the tranquility was broken. Sasuke, Naruto, Kushina and others arrived. Obito, it's really you. Kushina's eyes were full of confusion. He didn't understand why Obito became like this. Why did such a kind kid start the Nine Tails Rebellion? Why was the Uchiha clan destroyed? Obito looked at Naruto and the others and said calmly, I did everything by myself and had nothing to do with Lin. If you want revenge, just come at me. After I die, I ask you to be kind to Lin. She is innocent. Sasuke's eyes were blood red and he yelled hoarsely, innocent. The Uchiha clan, from old to young, even babies in their infancy, why don't you say they are innocent? Tell me, what does it mean to be innocent? How many innocent people have you killed just because of her? You actually said she was innocent, why do you have that? Obito wanted to say something, but Lin reached out and covered his mouth. She turned around, looked at everyone, and bowed deeply. Everything I did with the pen and mop was because of me. I am the culprit for the harm Obito caused to you. So, I am willing to use my life to repay some of Obito's mistakes. Obito said loudly, Lin, you are innocent. You finally came back to life. You can't die again. He looked at Sasuke and others and said, Lin is innocent. Lin died long before the Nine Tails Rebellion. Everything I did has nothing to do with Lin. You can't kill her. Lin turned to look at Obito and said with a smile, hold the pen and drag it. Don't be afraid. I am already dead, but I am just dying again. I'm used to it in the Pure Land, but you won't be used to it at first. So I want to share everything with you and go down there with you so that you won't be alone. A trace of unbearability flashed in Naruto's eyes, but Sasuke's face was filled with murderous intent. Mizuki said nothing. He had no grudge against Obito. If he had any grudge, Obito came to kill him today, which was considered a grudge. But he was not harmed, either physically or mentally. So, strictly speaking, he has no grudge against Obito. He left Obito's fate to Naruto and Sasuke. As for Lin, looking at the look of death on her face, she probably doesn't want to live. She really wanted to die, and Mizuki wouldn't stop her. Although chakra and life force were wasted to resurrect Lin, these can be made up for. Naruto, you deal with this woman, Obito leaves it to me. Sasuke assigned. Naruto looked at Lin and didn't move. Sasuke, I can't kill her. She is innocent. Instead of blaming Naruto, Sasuke was happy. In that case, I will kill both of them. Now I will avenge the innocent victims of the Uchiha clan. Although these two lives are far from enough, this is the first step in my revenge. Everyone except Mizuki frowned at Sasuke's words. This is a person who is completely dominated by hatred. Such a person is very dangerous. Naruto looked at Sasuke, frowning slightly, not knowing what he was thinking. Go to hell, Sasuke roared angrily, holding the Rasengan in his hand, and moved in front of Lin like a gust of wind. The Rasengan in his hand hit Lin hard in the back of the heart. No, Obito looked at Lin, whose mouth was bleeding, and roared angrily. Lin raised her hand tremblingly, touched Obito's face, and said, "Hold the pen and mop, don't be angry, this is of my own free will. I'll wait for you below. This time, I won't be alone." After saying that, Lin closed her eyes. Witnessing Lin's death again, Obito thought he could accept it calmly, but when it came to the end, he found that he couldn't accept it. Obito also closed his eyes. He was angry, desperate, and wanted to do something. Emotional changes so intense that words cannot describe them cause violent fluctuations in mental power. Mizuki's expression, which had been staring at Obito with his left eye, suddenly changed. He discovered that there were cracks in the high soul life that enveloped Obito. How is this going? At this moment, all the huge spiritual power in Obito's mind poured into his left eye. The three scythes in Obito's eyes began to spin rapidly. The terrifying pupil power began to be born. Mizuki's expression changed drastically and he shouted, "No, kill him quickly." As he spoke, Mizuki also moved, and apparated in front of Obito. The Rinnegan human world ability was activated to extract Obito's soul. But when he put his hand on Obito's head, it came up empty. It passed through Obito's body. He actually succeeded. How can this be? At this time, everyone saw that Obito's one eye was no longer Sharingan, but Rinnegan. Mizuki was very confused. Although Obito has Hashirama cells and Sharingan in his body, even if the two are combined, it will never be possible to activate the Rinnegan. Without Ashura and Indra's chakra, Sharingan cannot evolve into Rinnegan. Even Uchiha Madara, after transplanting Hashirama cells, only activated Rinnegan when he was old and dying. How can Obito be so good? This situation happened to Sasuke in the anime. After Sasuke is killed by Madara, he encounters the Sage of Six Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo in the conscious world. Hagoromo gave Sasuke the yin power of six paths and helped Sasuke open the one-eyed Rinnegan. This has to make Mizuki suspect that Sage of Six Paths intervened when Obito opened Rinnegan. Sage of Six Paths has no reason to do this. Could it be that the Infinite Tsukuyomi plan and Sage of Six Paths are the real masterminds behind it? Or maybe Sage of Six Paths knows that I am not a native of the ninja world, so it strengthens Obito and wants to kill me. Mizuki was puzzled, but the top priority is to deal with Obito, not Sage of Six Paths. Kushina, help. In fact, there is no need for Mizuki to greet him, Kushina has already taken action. The iron rope emerged from her body and enveloped Obito. Space blockade. Obito took a deep look at Lin's body and said coldly, "You are treating Lin like this, I will not let you go. Just wait, when I fully master the new power, I will come back and kill you all. None of you can escape." After saying that, his body sank into the ground. He kept hollow. Kushina's space blockade was not completed, and no one could stop him. I can only watch him leave. In fact, Obito wanted to take Lin's body away with him, but in order to do so, he had to materialize the body first. He doesn't dare. Mizuki looked gloomy, but there was nothing he could do. Even if he takes action in advance, there is a high probability that he will not be able to kill Obito. Sage of Six Paths is watching in secret. No matter what Mizuki does, the result will not change. What is Sage of Six Paths doing this for? Hundreds of meters in the air, an old man in white sits cross-legged in the void. He is born with twin horns. He is none other than Sage of Six Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo. He sat down, and 9 truth-seeking balls formed a circle and floated quietly. Birds flew past him and even passed through him. He is ethereal and cannot be seen by the naked eye, not even Mizuki's Rinnegan can see him. He quietly watched what was happening below, and sighed after seeing Obito leave. The ninja world is about to face an unprecedented challenge, and the Otsutsuki clan will come again. Until then, the ninja world needs someone to protect it. He looked at Sasuke and Naruto with a hint of tenderness in his eyes. The reincarnations of Indra and Ashura, only the two of them have the power to save the ninja world. But if they want to realize their potential, and if they want to be strong enough to become enemies of the Otsutsuki clan, they need pressure and the tempering of their enemies. Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi plan is the best whetstone. So, Obito cannot die. This is why Sage of Six Paths stepped in. He had a long-term view and saw the future tribulations of the ninja world. He felt that Obito could not die, so he helped Obito activate the Rinnegan. The development of things is very different from what was expected. All changes are because of this person. He set his sights on Mizuki. He looked at it carefully, and the more he looked, the more intense his frown became. In Gamamaru's prophecy, this person should not exist as the main line of development of the ninja world. His appearance has completely disrupted the development of the ninja world. Even I can't see the future clearly. His talent is even better than Indra's, and he can develop various ninjutsu to a whole new level. The earthly resentment of Taki Ninja Village was in his hands, and it was developed to the point where it could absorb the vitality of plants, giving him eternal life. After Izanagi of the Uchiha clan was improved by him, the side effects were greatly reduced. Sage of Six Paths all admire Mizuki. He can't even do this kind of ability to improve ninjutsu. In other words, he has never seen anyone who can improve ninjutsu at will like Mizuki. It is simply an inhuman existence. It's a pity that his soul aura is very strange and he was not born on this planet at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to plan so much for the ninja world. Not a member of the Otsutsuki clan, not even a descendant of the Otsutsuki clan, yet able to activate Sharingan and Rinnegan. Where did this person come from? At this time, Sage of Six Paths was filled with doubts. He couldn't see through Mizuki's origins. I can't see through everything about Mizuki. Mizuki seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog, blocking his further exploration. Although they can't see through Mizuki, Sage of Six Paths doesn't feel that Mizuki is a good person. No matter what, if he can activate Sharingan and Rinnegan, he must have something to do with the Otsutsuki clan. So we can't continue to let him do whatever he wants. It's a pity that I'm dead and can no longer take action. The only thing I can do now is to isolate some connections between the Pure Land and the mortal world so that he can no longer resurrect the dead through Rinnegan. After saying that, Sage of Six Paths took action. I saw his hands forming seals, a strange aura emanating from his body, and there seemed to be some kind of change in the world. After doing this, Sage of Six Paths' already illusory body became even more illusory. Hey, every time I interfere with the present world, my existence time will be shortened. It seems that I can't hold on much longer. Below, Mizuki suddenly reached out to cover his right eye and let out a painful groan. Master, what's wrong with you? Naruto asked concerned. Blood flowed from the corner of Mizuki's right eye and overflowed from the gap between his fingers. Hateful, he clearly felt that Rinnegan was restricted and the Rinne Tensei technique had lost its effect. Otsutsuki Hagoromo, for targeting me. Without being able to resurrect the dead, his plan to expand Phoenix Village would be greatly affected. He really couldn't figure out what Sage of Six Paths meant. Even if he sent Obito Rinnegan as a gift, he actually limited his own Rinnegan's ability. Why don't you just kill me? Mizuki roared in his heart. He didn't know that it wasn't that Sage of Six Paths didn't want to kill him, but that it simply didn't have the ability to kill him. Master, your eyes are bleeding, were you injured just now? Naruto asked. Mizuki shook his head and said, don't worry, it's just that I used my eyes too much and my pupil power was consumed a little more. He sighed and said, Obito activated the Rinnegan, and his space ninjutsu became even weirder. Before leaving, he threatened to take revenge on us, so everyone should be more careful in the future. Mizuki wasn't too worried about Obito. Although Obito has the Rinnegan, his pupil power is higher than the Eternal Sharingan's pupil power, and he can ignore his high soul life. However, Mizuki is not a mediocre person standing still. When the system's return opportunities are refreshed next month, his strength will increase even further. When the time comes, just focus on Obito. Rinnegan is higher than Sharingan, right? Well, I will also upgrade my left eye to Rinnegan, and then use Rinnegan to release high soul life. Kamui Hollow is invincible, you can come and go as you please, right? Okay, I'll learn Kushina's space seal and seal the space. Let's see what you do with Hollow. That night, Mizuki didn't sleep. He was sitting alone in Feng Ying's office, with a crystal ball on the table and the technique telescope always on. He was afraid that Obito would make a comeback. He is not worried about Naruto and Sasuke. One has Flying Thunder God and the other has Izanagi. Obito cannot take them away. He was worried about the rest of the village. Until dawn, Obito did not appear again, but Mizuki felt that this was not possible. You can only be a thief for 1,000 days, but you can't guard against a thief for 1,000 days. Phoenix Village needs a barrier, a large sensory barrier. Once the enemy breaks in, they can be discovered immediately. It's definitely not possible for him to keep watch all night alone. It would be much more convenient if there was a barrier. As long as a strange chakra breaks in, an early warning will be detected immediately. That way Obito won't be able to break into the village quietly. The scroll I brought back from Konoha contains the method of arranging the barrier, but there are loopholes in Konoha's barrier, and Obito knows it. Mizuki has not done any research on the barrier, so although he knows that there are loopholes in the Konoha barrier, he has no way to modify it. The best way is to improve the barrier. It seems that I need to go to Konoha again. Konoha also has 2 disciples of its own, Xiaoli and Xiao Sakura. He didn't want to have much to do with these 2 people, but now, he couldn't help but go. However, once I leave and Obito comes, the people in the village will be in danger. In that case, let's send them out before I leave. The ninja world is so big, and it's not easy for Obito to find someone. He thought for a moment and made a decision. In the bear country next door, there is a star ninja village, and there are some people in the village. There is no need for such a small village to exist. It is best to merge the village and its people into Fengwang village. Leave this task to them. Moreover, the meteor in Star Ninja Village has a very special effect, and the peacock magic in Star Ninja Village is also very practical. Although the side effects of that meteorite are very strong, after the system returns them, that won't necessarily be the case. After making the decision, Mizuki gathered everyone together and conveyed his thoughts. After listening, everyone had different expressions. Tsunade spoke loudest. Annexing the Star Ninja Village. This is absolutely not allowed. Mizuki, do you know that the original Uchiha Madara was the same as the current one? He also wanted to unify the ninja world, but it turns out that his idea was wrong. Peace in the ninja world can never be achieved by force. The lessons history has taught us are profound. Mizuki shook his head. Tsunade, do you know what the ninja world will face? Do you think that what I did was just for peace in the ninja world? I'm telling you, not at all. Tsunade asked, what exactly do you mean? Mizuki sighed and said, there are some things that I should let you know. Today I will take this opportunity to tell you about the strongest race in the universe, the Otsutsuki clan. I hope you won't be too depressed after listening to this. People of the Otsutsuki clan don't need to practice, they are born with great strength. They search for life planets in the universe, and after finding them, they plant a sacred tree on the planet. The growth process of the sacred tree will absorb all the life force on the planet and bear the fruit of the sacred tree. So, the arrival of the Otsutsuki clan means the withering of the living planet. Mizuki's words attracted everyone's attention. Even Naruto, a lazy guy who didn't pay attention in class, didn't desert. Thousands of years ago, Otsutsuki Ashiki and Otsutsuki Kagaya came to our planet and planted the sacred tree. Later, Otsutsuki Kagaya ate the fruit of the sacred tree and became the ancestor of Chakra, known as the goddess of Mao. Since then, Chakra has been officially born in the ninja world. Naruto asked curiously, what about Otsutsuki Ashiki? Mizuki replied, if the sacred tree wants to bear fruit, it needs a Otsutsuki tribesman as a living sacrifice for the sacred tree to swallow. This is why, after the Otsutsuki clan finds a new planet of life, 2 people will always come together, one is the guardian and one is the protected. Guardians are used to make sacrifices. The fruits of the sacred tree are eaten by the guardians. Naruto was stunned. It turns out that Otsutsuki Ashiki was a guardian. Was he sacrificed? No. Mizuki shook his head. Kagaya is the guardian, but she was unwilling to accept her fate, so she attacked Ichiki in a sneak attack, seriously injured her, and used Ichiki's body as a sacrifice to be swallowed by the sacred tree. At this time, Tsunade asked, you just said that the sacred tree needs to swallow all the life force on the planet in order to bear fruit. Since Kagaya ate the fruit, why wasn't the ninja world destroyed? Mizuki explained, because what Kagaya ate was not the ripe fruit of the sacred tree. In fact, the sacred tree only swallowed half of Ashiki's body. As a result, the sacred tree was not fully developed, and it was not effective in devouring the life force of the ninja world, and the fruits it produced were not mature enough. Tsunade asked again. Did Kagaya leave the ninja world after eating the fruit of the sacred tree? Mizuki shook his head. Since then, Kagaya has ruled the ninja world and used the sacred tree to make people into white zetsu. White zetsu is a humanoid creature. Kagaya was afraid that the Otsutsuki clan would seek revenge on her, so she made white zetsu to use as a weapon of war. Everyone is curious, what does white zetsu look like? Well, this is hard to describe in detail. But there happens to be a white zetsu sneaking around outside the village. I'll catch it and show it to you. Mizuki looked into the distance through the window. On a tree outside the village, a white zetsu only exposed half of his head on the surface of the tree trunk, his eyes fixed on the direction of the village. In fact, he is not the only white zetsu around the village, they are all staring at Phoenix Village. I really want to go into the village, find a toilet, and observe the whole process of human defecation. But Obito asked us to monitor the village from the outside to prevent Mizuki from sneaking away and losing sight of his people. It's a pity, he was talking to himself, but he didn't realize that the big tree he was hiding in was withering at a speed visible to the naked eye. But when he realized something was wrong, the tree was completely dead. When the wind blew, the trunk turned into powder and was blown away. What's happening here? Before he could react, he felt a pain in the back of his neck and passed out. Mizuki brought white zetsu in front of everyone and said, "This is white zetsu. You just have to look at it first. There are still some near the village. I will go and take care of them all." He continued to take action, and with the help of Tianyu, he quietly killed more than a dozen white zetsu. They are all clones of white zetsu, but they are enough to foresee Obito's dangerous thoughts. Back at the Phoenix Tower, Mizuki continues to tell stories. He explained the Hagoromo and Hamura brothers' sealing of Kagaya, the true appearance of the sacred tree, and the origins of the nine-tailed beasts, one by one. After listening, everyone didn't come back to their senses for a long time. They were all shocked by what Mizuki said. It's fake. Everyone couldn't believe it. But Mizuki said he had noses and eyes, and even caught white zetsu as evidence, leaving them speechless. Naruto thought of something and sank his consciousness into the sealed space. Hey, Stinky Fox, your name is Kurama. Were you born after the Sage of Six Paths separated from 10 Tails? Is what my master said true? Nine Tails was also shocked by what Mizuki said, but this time it didn't say anything bad to Naruto. Otsutsuki Kagaya, the fruit of the sacred tree, 10 Tails or something, I don't know. But I know that the name of Sage of Six Paths is Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and my name is indeed Kurama. Naruto, who got part of the answer, immediately left the conscious space. Nine Tails has confirmed part of it, but not even it knows about the rest. At this time, everyone was 80% or 90% sure that what Mizuki said was true. Seeing that everyone was almost convinced, Mizuki continued the previous topic. The Otsutsuki Ashiki is not dead yet, and he will come out to cause trouble sooner or later. Other members of the Otsutsuki clan will also come to the ninja world and bring disaster to the ninja world. Therefore, the ninja world can no longer be internally divided and must concentrate its strength to meet the challenges of the future. This is why I want to annex other ninja villages. Only by combining the resources, strength, and wisdom of the entire ninja world into one can we have the power to fight against the Otsutsuki clan. Mizuki said so much, of course it was an excuse. An excuse to unify the ninja world and establish himself as the king of the ninja world. Originally, he had no ambitions. In his previous life, he was an ordinary person. He went to an ordinary university and after graduation, he entered an ordinary company and became an ordinary employee. The lofty ambitions I made when I was young have long since faded away. But after coming to the ninja world, he encountered various crises, challenges, and dangers. His fighting spirit was slowly aroused. As a time traveler, obscurity is a sin. You must do something earth-shattering to be worthy of your status as a time traveler. Unifying the ninja world is only the first step. Unifying the universe is his ultimate dream. Tsunade said. Even so, I still don't think it's good that you want to unify the ninja world. Once a war is triggered, the ninja world will be plunged into endless war. By then, the ninja world will have declined before the Otsutsuki clan comes. The cruelty of war is unimaginable. Kushina, Hyuga Hazashi and others also nodded in agreement with Tsunade's statement. I also think it's unrealistic. Even Zabuza, a murderous maniac, felt that Mizuki's idea was not feasible. Mizuki frowned. Everyone disagrees with my idea, and if it is forcibly implemented, the effect will definitely not be good. Forget it, let's take this matter slowly, there is no need to rush it. But they have to leave the village. He is about to go to Konoha. If Obito comes, the rest of them will be no match. He had gone through a lot of hard work to gather this team of people, but he couldn't let Obito go to waste. So he said bluntly, I have to leave the village to do something. If I'm not here, if Obito comes, you will all be in danger. So, except for Naruto and Sasuke, none of you can stay in the village until I come back. Naruto has the Flying Thunder God, who can come and go with ease and is not afraid of Obito. Sasuke doesn't have to be afraid of Obito since he has Izanagi. The same cannot be said for the others. When encountering Obito, only one of them will die. Rinnegan is so powerful that no ordinary person can withstand it. Not to mention them, even Mizuki has no way to restrain Obito now. If Obito really comes, there's really nothing Mizuki can do against him. Kamui's hollow is too unsolvable. Although Kushina's space blockade can restrain Kamui, the casting time is too long, and Obito ran out before the blockade was completed. That's why Mizuki is anxious to go to Konoha to meet Xiaoli and Xiao Sakura. Everyone frowned, and Tsunade said, this won't work. If every time you leave in the future, we have to leave the village to avoid Obito, then Phoenix Village will never develop. Mizuki said, I went out this time to find a way to restrain Obito. Once I find a way, I won't have to worry about it in the future. Tsunade nodded and said, I know there is a relatively hidden place at the junction of Bird Fire and Wind Country. People who have never been there can't find it. I will take everyone to hide there. Mizuki said to Naruto, you have the Flying Thunder God, just stay in the village and use Shadow Clone to turn into everyone's appearance. Sasuke, you also stay in the village. Your chakra control is almost up to standard. I will teach you the apparition technique in a moment. You can practice it well. Next, Mizuki asked for a space blockade from Kushina, and then Tsunade took most of the people and left at night. The surrounding white zetsu clones had been cleared by Mizuki, and their departure was very subtle. At least Obito has no idea. Naruto used Shadow Clone to take on everyone's appearance, and everything in the village seemed normal. Before Mizuki left, he taught Sasuke how to apparate. After a few more instructions, Mizuki left, heading to Konoha as quickly as possible. Hey, it's really not easy to worry about every day. It's so late at night, I can't even get a good night's sleep. In an underground cave dozens of miles away from Phoenix Village, Obito is adapting to Rinnegan's abilities. Suddenly he stopped and looked at White Zetsu who had just emerged from the ground. Ju, what's the news? White Zetsu said. All the clones I arranged around Phoenix Village were killed, but there was news from the country of rain that someone was flying through the sky. The Akatsuki organization has strengthened its vigilance at high altitudes. Oh, Obito was surprised. Mizuki actually left Phoenix Village. This is really good news. In that case, I'll go to Phoenix Village for a walk. This time, I'm going to kill them all. Obito came outside Phoenix Village again. But when he was about to enter the village, he hesitated. The atmosphere is wrong. It was so relaxing, there was no tension at all. Could it be a scam? His mind began to beat. Logically speaking, having just experienced his own attack, shouldn't Fengwang Village be in a state of panic and everyone should be on guard? Are all the people in this village crazy? No, what am I afraid of? Mizuki has many and weird tricks. When I didn't have Rinnegan, I really couldn't beat him. But now that I have Rinnegan, his Sharingan-I technique no longer threatens me. I'm not afraid of him at all. Don't say he's not here, even if he is here, why should I be afraid? Emboldened, Obito no longer hesitated. He hollows his body, dives underground, and heads to Nobita's residence. Naruto will Flying Thunder God, I'll have a hard time catching him. And Sasuke seems to have some means that I don't know about. He was clearly sucked into the Kamui space by me before, but I don't know how he escaped. It's a bit like Izanagi, but neither of his eyes is blind. Be safe and leave the two of them to the end. Soon he arrived in Nobita's room. At this time, Naruto's shadow clone transformed into Nobita, already lying on the bed and falling asleep. Let me in. This Rinnegan is not exactly a gift from Sage of Six Paths. At that time, Obito's mood swings were too great, and his burst of mental power reached ultimate, so Sage of Six Paths gave him a push. Sasuke's situation is completely different from that in the anime. Perhaps it was his strong will that was at work, so that his pupil technique, Kamui, was still retained. And after the evolution of Kamui, the effect is even stronger. Absorbing objects or people into Kamui space is faster and has a larger range. In addition, the duration of Hollow has been increased from the previous 5 minutes to 20 minutes. Well, Sister Nan's 600 billion detonating talismans can only explode for 10 minutes, so they no longer pose a threat to Obito. At least twice as much. Nobita was sucked into the Kamui space while he was still sleeping. First, he just absorbed Nobita into the Kamui space and didn't attack Nobita, so he didn't realize that the one he sucked in was just a shadow clone. Immediately afterwards, he absorbed Sai, Shin, Neji, and Hazashi, one after another. 5 people were taken away and Obito was very happy. Today, I will turn this village into a deserted place of death. He came to Shang Phosphorus' house, walked to Shang Phosphorus' bed, and sucked Shang Phosphorus away. At this moment, he suddenly felt that his ankles were cold, as if they were wet. He looked down and saw that his calf was wrapped in a transparent liquid like water. These liquids seemed to be alive, spreading up Obito's legs in a manner that defied gravity. He also clearly felt that these liquids were drilling into his body, and wherever they went, something in his body was rapidly draining away. What the hell is this? Suddenly, he saw that the back of his hand was aging rapidly, with wrinkles increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Obito panicked. He quickly took off his mask and looked in the mirror. Sure enough, his face was also aging. This thing absorbs life force. What the hell is this? Hollow. Obito immediately entered the hollow state, but the liquid, like his clothes, also entered the hollow state with his body and continued to wrap around him. I don't believe I can't get rid of you. Shinra Tenjang. Although he had just acquired the Rinnegan, he already mastered the Shinra Tensei. A powerful repulsive force erupted from his body, and the liquid on his body was instantly emptied and spread everywhere. But Obito didn't feel safe anymore because the fluid in his body couldn't be drained out of his body. What kind of poison is this? By the way, Tsunade is the only one in Phoenix Village who knows medical ninjutsu. She must have prepared this poison. It's still too late for me to get the antidote from her. With that he was off to find Tsunade. But the next moment, a familiar voice sounded from within him. Stop struggling, Obito, this is not poison. I was lucky enough to let you escape last time, but this time, you're dead. Obito was surprised. Mizuki. Didn't you leave? Why are you still here? Also, what kind of underworld ninjutsu are you doing? Mizuki smiled and said, if I didn't fly over Rain Shinobi Village so arrogantly, how could you dare to enter the village and arrest people so arrogantly? As for the ninjutsu, you don't need to know. You're going to die soon anyway. Obito immediately shouted, you can't kill me. If you kill me, the 6 people I captured will be dead. I locked them in a closed space with no food or drink, and only I can take people in and out. You release me, and I will release the 6 of them to you. Mizuki said indifferently. Oh, it's up to you, they are all Naruto's shadow clones anyway. What? I have to say that the shadow clone ninjutsu is really buggy. Not to mention Obito, not even Otsutsuki Kagaya can see the difference between the original body and shadow clone. Byakugan, Sharingan, and Rinnegan can't tell which one is the original one. Only Uchiha Madara can tell at a glance whether the Naruto in front of him is his true form or a shadow clone. At this time, Obito's heart exploded when he heard that the 6 people he captured were all Naruto's shadow clone. But he didn't have time to regret why he hadn't been more careful now. Because he felt that others were almost gone. He in the mirror is too old to look at. Madara, who relied on the ghetto statue to extend her life, is not even that old. I can't die, I still want to avenge Lin. At this moment, he burst out with a strong desire to survive. Come out, otherwise, I will die with you. After saying this, he activated Kamui to suck himself into the Kamui space. Mizuki was shocked and called him a good guy. If he followed Obito into the Kamui space, if Obito died, he would be trapped in it and never want to get out. Then it's really fun. Stop, 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 I'll be cruel to you. The space suction stopped immediately. Obito doesn't want to die either. But he kept an eye on it and did not terminate Kamui. The entrance to the space was still open and he could enter at any time. Come out quickly, I'll lose 3 numbers, 3, 2. Come out, open your mouth, I will come out of your mouth. Obito's face was gloomy, his mouth was slightly open, and transparent liquid spilled from the corner of his mouth. The scene was very disgusting for a time. As soon as the last drop of liquid came out, Obito immediately restarted Kamui, and the suction pulled him towards the Kamui space. Just then, the last bit of liquid suddenly turned into a hand. Before Obito could react, his eyeballs were taken away. Ah, Mizuki, you are cheating. Amidst the screams, Obito entered the Kamui space, and the space vortex disappeared immediately. The liquid formed by the heavenly resentment reaggregated, including the ones that Obito had previously used to break away with the Shinra Tensei. Soon, Mizuki returned to his original appearance. He looked at the eyeballs he held in his right hand and looked happy. Get a Rinnegan and give it to Naruto or Sasuke when it arrives next month. I'll send it out after it's returned. As for Obito, his eyes are gone, so the pupil technique will naturally be useless. If nothing else happens, he will be trapped and die in the Kamui space. Having captured Rinnegan and killed Obito, tonight was a great harvest. It's true that my plan was not in vain. After sending Tsunade and the others away, he sent Shadow Clone to leave the village and deliberately flew over Rain Shinobi village. Sure enough, Obito got the news and came. Mizuki's true body is still in the village, turned into liquid, hiding in Shanglin's house, tightly hidden under the wooden floor. When Obito entered the room and began to devour the fragrant phosphorus on the bed, his body detached from the hollow. Mizuki took the opportunity to flow onto his feet and crawl up his legs. I really think that Kamui is invincible. I don't know if I could replace the Sharingan that blinded my left eye with another one. That way I can still use Izanagi to save my life. He took out a reagent bottle and put Rinnegan in it. Just then, Naruto and Sasuke both arrived. Obito's Shinra Tensei, although he had just mastered it, was not very powerful, but it also destroyed Shanglin's house and caused quite a stir. Master, didn't you leave? And what happened here? Naruto was full of doubts. Mizuki smiled and said, I have killed Obito. Go and inform your mother that they can come back. Yeah, Naruto was surprised. Master, when did it happen? Why did Obito say it was gone? At this time, Naruto's shadow clone has not been released yet, so he doesn't know what happened. Sasuke said, did he die? What a pity. It's a pity that he didn't kill Obito himself to avenge his tribe. Kushina had the flying thunder god mark set by Naruto. He disappeared in a flash and came back with Kushina soon after. His current flying thunder god can only take one person with him at a time. As for the others, they just worked harder and walked back by themselves. Before everyone could come back, Mizuki left, this time in his true form, heading for Konoha. When Obito entered Phoenix Village, he felt like he was in an uninhabited land. This reminded Mizuki that some measures must be taken. At least, Phoenix Village is a barrier. It is best to have a multifunctional and powerful barrier that integrates early warning, isolation, attack, and defense. So the system must come out to work. Outside the village, Z waited left and right, but didn't see Obito coming out, so he got a little anxious. What's going on? Why haven't you come out yet? Suddenly, he saw a figure flying into the air in the village. The figure was very clear in the moonlight, and you knew it was Mizuki without even looking closely. How could it be? Didn't Mizuki leave before? Ju's expression changed drastically. At this moment, he realized that Obito was probably gone. He was unwilling to give in and waited for a while. It was already past the agreed time, but Obito still didn't come to join him. As Obito, who owns the Rinnegan, also dead. Where did this Mizuki come from? Why would an ordinary Chunin from Konoha be so powerful? Is it the reincarnation of Hagoromo or Hamura? High in the sky, the chakra body of Sage of Six Paths appears again. This Mizuki's methods are really weird. That kind of technique that invades the human body and absorbs life force after liquefaction is very similar to the ability of the sacred tree. Sage of Six Paths had doubts in his heart. When I was young, I heard my mother say that the Otsutsuki clan would bring the larva of the sacred tree to the living planet, and let the larva of the sacred tree devour the life force of the entire planet. When they grow up, they will bear the fruits of the sacred tree. The Otsutsuki clan will evolve after eating the fruits of the sacred tree. Powerful. Mom didn't say what the larva of the sacred tree look like, but from the 10 tails we can see that the larvae of the sacred tree are living creatures that can move. Thinking of this, Sage of Six Paths had an idea in his mind. Could it be that Mizuki is a wild sacred tree larva? Or is he physically possessed by the larva of the sacred tree? Combined with the clue that Mizuki can swallow life force, Sage of Six Paths feels that his guess is probably correct. He used the Rinne Tensai technique several times but did not die. The reason is that he swallowed a lot of life force. He didn't care about the consumption of the Rinne Tensai technique. After sorting things out, Sage of Six Paths' worries became more and more serious. Recalling the destruction and disaster caused by the sacred tree to the earth, he felt that something must be done. My body is dead, and all that is left is my chakra body, which is an illusory spiritual existence and cannot directly participate in the battle. Besides, I'm tired of fighting. Forget it, let's discuss it with the old guy first and see if he has anything to say. He looked in the direction Mizuki left, and his body slowly dissipated. Mount Myoboku, in the temple, the great toad sage sleeps with his eyes closed. Suddenly it opened its eyes and said, "Long time no see, old friend." This old toad has clear eyes and speaks eloquently, not at all like the sleepy and confused person he usually behaves. Chakra condenses and the Sage of Six Paths appears. "Yeah, long time no see." Sage of Six Paths had no intention of reminiscing with Toad, but directly stated its intention. "Gamamaru, there is a new crisis reward in the ninja world, can you foresee it?" The old Toad frowned. "A new crisis? What are you referring to?" "The previous prophecy has covered the next 30 years of the ninja world. Could it be that, Yuya, you already know what will happen 30 years later?" Sage of Six Paths said, "I seem to have discovered a new sacred tree larva." "What?" The big toad was shocked. "Are you sure?" Sage of Six Paths shook his head and said, "I can't be 100% sure, so I'm here to seek your help and see if your prophecy can provide any useful clues." The big toad looked solemn and said, "Tell me what you know quickly." Sage of Six Paths nodded. "Have you heard about the Phoenix village that recently appeared in the bird country?" The big toad said, "I heard from the little toad below that a Konoha shinobi named Mizuki killed the 3rd Hokage and the 4th Kazekage, defected and founded a new village in the Kingdom of Birds. Even the 9 Tails Jinchuriki of Konoha village was taken away from Konoha by him. What's wrong with this Mizuki?" Sage of Six Paths nods again. "In fact, Mizuki died a few months ago, and his soul entered the Pure Land." The big toad frowned. "Replaced by someone else's soul. Konoha's new Hokage, named Snake or Maru, seems to know this trick." Sage of Six Paths. "Yes, the soul has been replaced, and I can conclude that the soul in Mizuki's body is foreign. Like your mother, came from an alien planet." Little did the two of them know that Mizuki was not from an alien planet at all, but from an outside world. However, even if he comes from an alien planet, he may not necessarily be from the Otsutsuki clan. Sage of Six Paths said, "He is not a descendant of my blood. To awaken the Sharingan and Rinnegan, there is no other possibility except Otsutsuki." Hearing this, Gamamaru looked solemn and became serious. Indeed, Sharingan and Rinnegan are not original products of the ninja world. It was brought by the Otsutsuki clan after their arrival. Kagaya passed it on to Hagoromo, who in turn passed it on to future generations. Therefore, Sharingan and Rinnegan, tracing back to their roots, still have to return to the Otsutsuki bloodline. This is enough to prove that Mizuki and Otsutsuki are definitely related. The name has the word, mu, in it. Who would believe it if it doesn't matter? But what makes me conclude that he is the larva of the sacred tree is another piece of evidence. Gamamaru asked, "What evidence?" Sage of Six Paths said in a heavy tone, "He masters the method of devouring life force." "Are you sure?" Gamamaru's voice suddenly increased. This time it was really shocked. At this point, Like Sage of Six Paths, it believes that Mizuki is the larva of the sacred tree. Isn't it a sacred tree that can swallow up life force? When Otsutsuki Ashiki and Otsutsuki Kagaya came to the ninja world, they planted sacred trees. The roots of the trees spread to every corner of the planet, and even Mount Myoboku was not spared. The sight of all living creatures losing their vitality was still fresh in Gamamaru's memory. With its support, Sage of Six Paths practiced senjutsu at Mount Myoboku, became a sage, and then had the power to seal Kagaya. The sacred tree was also divided into just a tailed beast, completely losing its threat to the ninja world. I finally chopped down a sacred tree, and now there is another sacred tree larva. Could it be that the original disaster was about to happen again? At this time, Totemaru said, Frogheart is so tired. I am already old, but I still can't enjoy my old age with peace of mind. Wait a moment, I will immediately fall into a dream and predict the future of this Mizuki and see what plans he has for the ninja world. After saying that, he closed his eyes and soon began to purr. Sage of Six Paths waited quietly. Half an hour later, Totemaru finally woke up. Seeing Gamamaru's confused eyes, Sage of Six Paths felt something bad. But he still asked, how was it, what was the result? Gamamaru shook his head, frowned, and said nothing. Even though Sage of Six Paths has thousands of years of cultivation, it has long been as stable as an old dog, and now it is anxious. As the saying goes, the shorter the announcement, the bigger the problem. Now that you are silent, could it be that the ninja world is hopeless? Tell me what you saw. Sage of Six Paths urged. Gamamaru finally spoke. I didn't see anything. That Mizuki seems not to be in destiny. I can't see anything about his future. It was confused. It had lived for thousands of years and had never encountered such a situation. Even the original Otsutsuki Ishiki, Otsutsuki Kagaya, it could see some of their future. But Mizuki, it can't see anything. How could this happen? Sage of Six Paths was also confused. Gamamaru said, I can see the future of the sacred tree your mother and others brought. So I can conclude that this Mizuki is definitely not as simple as a sacred tree larva. His origin is definitely bigger. It advised, Hagoromo, such a person is beyond my understanding. He has not done anything too harmful to the ninja world. I think maybe we are too worried. Perhaps he has no intention of harming the ninja world. Sage of Six Paths shook his head. His eyes were firm. Gamamaru, you and I were both born in the ninja world. This is our home. Although I am dead, my chakra is still there and I am determined to protect the peace of the ninja world. I will not watch the destruction of the ninja world. Gamamaru frowned and retorted, he has not done anything detrimental to the ninja world. Sage of Six Paths, he is not yet strong enough to be fearless. Maybe he is holding back. He said earnestly, Totemaru, we cannot sit back and watch the threat grow. Destroying him while he is still weak is the safest way. I would rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let one go. Even if it turns out that he was wronged, at least this is the safest thing to do. What Sage of Six Paths said makes perfect sense. Gamamaru was moved. So, what are you going to do? Sage of Six Paths, the reincarnation of Ashura, who is now Nine Tails Jinchuriki, tried to get him to come to Mount Myoboku, tell him Mizuki's true identity, and teach him senjutsu. Gamamaru nodded, then shook his head again and said, relying on Ashura's reincarnation alone may not be of much use. Sage of Six Paths, I will also arrange for Indra's reincarnation. Gamamaru said, it seems that you want to teach them that move. That move is enough. But in this way, many things will be brought forward. Time and space will change in the future, and there may be new crises. Hey, we have to be busy again. Meanwhile, Mizuki had walked around Konoha and then went to the hospital. Rock Lee, he has been discharged from the hospital. His body recovered miraculously. I heard that he practiced some ninjutsu. It's strange, what kind of ninjutsu can heal a comminuted fracture so quickly? After receiving the news, Mizuki suddenly felt enlightened. It seems that Xiao Li has mastered the Earth Resentment U. I thought that with his talent in ninjutsu, it would take a long time to master it, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. If Xiao Li is discharged from the hospital, it will not be so easy to find him. Let's go find little Sakura first. Then, when Mizuki found little Sakura's house, he found no one at home. After asking the neighbors, Mizuki was surprised by the results. Little Sakura's parents died before the Hokage building exploded. And little Sakura died during a mission. No, what's going on? Little Sakura died like this. Although, when Mizuki watched Hokage in his previous life, he hated little Sakura. Whenever little Sakura appeared, he would viciously curse, "It's best if Sakura is dead." But now, when he heard that little Sakura was dead, he didn't feel happy to hear it. After all, one is a dummy in the anime, and the other is a real person with flesh and blood. It still cannot be generalized. The death of little Sakura was a bit unexpected for Mizuki. It's probably Kakashi who became the hands-off shopkeeper. In the anime, Kakashi was partial to Sasuke, gave him a month of special training, and taught him his signature ninjutsu Chidori. Naruto was dumped to Ebisu. If he hadn't met Jiraiya, he would probably be useless. As for little Sakura, she became transparent. After Sasuke defected, Naruto went out to practice with Jiraiya, and Kakashi completely ignored Team 7. Little Sakura was also lucky enough to become Tsunade's teacher. This was true in anime, and it is true now. To be honest, Kakashi is really not suitable to be a teacher. Sharingan copied thousands of ninjutsu, and in the end, Sasuke learned 1,000 birds. Even I am not as good as me. At least, what I pass on to my disciples are genuine things. Mizuki felt a little superior in his heart. At the same time, the death of little Sakura was entirely blamed on Kakashi. Forget it, just die. Without this apprentice, just find another one to replace her. Neji, Bai, Gaara, Shanglin, and Nawaki are all good seedlings. After thinking about it for a while, Mizuki felt that it would be better to choose Nawaki. After all, he is the grandson of the first generation. He has a strong foundation and is also naive. He has also awakened to the limits of wood-style bloodline. At this moment, the system suddenly said, "Host, please note that although Haruno Sakura is dead, her disciple status cannot be transferred." What? System, are you kidding me? Everyone is dead and you are still occupying your seat. The system said, "The disciple died because you, the master, failed to fulfill your obligation to protect him. The responsibility lies entirely with you. If you want to blame, you can only blame yourself." In this system, even a dead disciple is still a disciple and still occupies a quota. In short, this system will not be responsible for any consequences. What the system said made sense, but Mizuki was speechless. But he was somewhat unconvinced. Rinne Tensei technique was banned and could not resurrect little Sakura. As a result, he lost 3 opportunities to collect system wool every month. The loss is huge. Just wait until I can cross over yin and yang and go directly to the Pure Land to teach her ninjutsu. You don't want me to pick up the wool, do you? You are dreaming. This system is just reminding host to be more considerate to its disciples. Okay, I understand, please kneel down. System. Little Sakura was gone, so Mizuki went to find Xiao Li. As a result, I searched around the village and couldn't find Xiao Li. The time is getting later and later, and there are almost no people on the street. Mizuki plans to look for it tomorrow. Let's go take a bath in a hot spring. I've been in the Hokage world for so long and I haven't enjoyed a hot spring bath yet. When he came to the hot spring hotel, he found a single hot spring pool, and he soaked in it beautifully. I'm not used to being in the same pool as others. Well, it's comfortable. When Fenghuang village is almost built, we will also build a hot spring hotel. Take a dip every day and soak away all your worries. There are still many hot springs in the ninja world. When the site of Phoenix Village was originally selected, Mizuki also looked over and saw that there was a hot spring valley near the village. Just as he was enjoying it, he suddenly remembered the woman's scream next door, which was also mixed with the middle-aged man's lewd and guilty smile. Mizuki knew it was Jiraiya as soon as he heard it. It's really embarrassing to the majority of men. I was caught peeping. I'm so weak. After saying that, Mizuki had a crystal ball in his hand, smiled, and was about to use the telescope technique. Be like me so you won't be discovered. At this moment, Might Guy's voice sounded next door. Combining work and rest, after hard training, taking a nice bath in a hot spring, this is youth. Yes, Teacher Guy. This was Xiao Li's voice, which still sounded so stubborn. Then I heard Guy say, "Li Yo, does it really matter to you? You have just been discharged from the hospital. Are you too anxious to undergo such high-intensity physical training? Xiao Li said loudly. It doesn't matter, Teacher Guy, the secret technique I practiced not only completely healed my body, but also greatly improved my recovery ability. No matter how tired you are during training, you will soon regain your full strength after training. Guy was silent for a moment and asked, what kind of secret skill is that? I'm sorry, Teacher Guy. Xiao Li apologized. The secret technique was given to me by little Sakura-chan. I promised her at that time that I would never tell anyone about it without her permission. Although little Sakura-chan has sacrificed, as a man, I must keep my promise. There was a pat on the shoulder, and Guy said, yes, that's how it should be. Keeping your promises is what youth should be like. But I want to remind you that even though you have practiced secret skills, you cannot relax in your physical skills. You, like me, have very little talent in ninjutsu and genjutsu. Only taijutsu is our ultimate pursuit. 8 inner gates, no weaker than any ninjutsu or genjutsu. Xiao Li responded loudly, understood, Teacher Guy. After saying that, the two of them got up from the hot spring pool and walked into the locker room. They had already soaked and were ready to leave. Mizuki didn't care about doing anything with the crystal ball anymore and got up from the pool and entered the locker room. When Guy and Xiao Li left, Mizuki turned into liquid and followed them quietly. Soon, Xiao Li went home alone. As soon as he entered the door, he saw an old man in a white robe with horns floating on his head. Grandpa, who are you? Why are you in my house? As a ninja, he had all the precautions he should have. When he saw a stranger in his home, Xiao Li's first thought was that there was a burglar. Rock Lee, I am Sage of Six Paths. I came to you today to teach you a mission to save the ninja world. Sage of Six Paths. Xiao Li was confused. Isn't that a legendary ancient figure? Although Xiao Li is naive, he is not stupid. The first thing he thought of was that his companions were playing tricks on him. However, the old man in front of him was floating in the air without any support below. Those friends in the village did not have this ability to fly. How do you prove you're Sage of Six Paths? Xiao Li grasped the key point. You say you are Sage of Six Paths, you have to prove it to me. If you can't prove it, you are a liar. I don't need to prove it, and I don't have to prove it. I said, I came to you to ask you to save the ninja world. The ninja world is about to face disaster, and only the 8 inner gates can save it. Although Might Guy can also use the 8 inner gates, he won't be able to last long after opening all the 8 gates, and he will die, which is not enough to resolve the crisis. But if you practice the secret technique of Earth Resentment, you can have up to 5 lives. If you open 8 gate, you can last 5 times as long as Guy, and you won't die after it ends. So, I just found you today. Xiao Li was shocked and asked, how do you know that the secret technique I practice is called Earth Resentment You? Haha, I am Sage of Six Paths. I know everything that happens in the ninja world. Okay, I'm here today to teach you more. After all, relying on 8 inner gates alone is still too risky. After speaking, he took out 3 scrolls. The things recorded in these 3 scrolls will be useful to you in the future. Throw down the scroll and he disappears. Xiao Li took the scroll, still a little confused. Mizuki, who had just become Sage of Six Paths, returned to the hot spring hotel and continued to soak. Ding. Host granted disciple Rock Lee a large-scale perception barrier layout scroll, triggering a 3,333 times return. Congratulations to host, you have obtained a super large sensory barrier layout scroll. A super large sensory barrier, with a maximum range that can cover the entire planet, and can sense all life energy. There are no dead ends in the sea, land, air, or underground. No living creature can escape the perception of this barrier. Oh, Mizuki laughed happily. The system is awesome. With this thing, Phoenix Village will not be afraid of enemies sneaking in silently. Even the white Zetsu underground cannot escape perception. This is the first one returned, there are 2 more. System, report it quickly. Ding. Host granted disciple Rock Lee a space blockade cultivation scroll, triggering a 666-fold return. Congratulations to host, you have obtained the space enchantment training scroll. The space barrier, with the caster as the center, immediately blocks the space within a radius of 66 meters, and any space ninjutsu will be ineffective. Note: There is no distinction between friend and foe. Although Obito is gone, Mizuki still gives the space blockade he received from Kushina to Xiao Li. Obito is not the only one who knows space ninjutsu, and we might meet him again in the future. Be prepared. It's just that there is no distinction between ourselves and the enemy, which is a bit careless. There is one last one left to return, and this one should be the most interesting. At the same time, Xiao Li was at home and had opened the first 2 scrolls. Perception barrier, space blockade. What's the use of these for me? I don't even have the talent for ninjutsu, let alone the talent for perception and sealing. Xiao Li was full of confusion. He was a little suspicious. Sage of 6 Paths was confused. He said he was the savior, but in the end he gave him useless things for him to practice. It's like being blind. With only the last scroll left, Xiao Li had no hope, but out of politeness, he decided to open it and take a look. What is this? Ultra Instinct. Xiao Li's heart beat faster unconsciously. Although he had never heard of it, when he first saw this name, he somehow felt that it was destined to him. It's like, somehow, this thing should belong to me. He looked carefully. Ultra Instinct, a super powerful physical technique that surpasses the SSS level, a divine control technique. After you complete your training, you can kill gods. Rely on conditioned reflex movements of various parts of the body to maximize movement speed and reaction ability. The body and consciousness are separated, allowing each part of the body to transcend instinct to perceive the dangers around it, and respond directly without the brain thinking first. Xiao Li was stunned. Is this true? Does this kind of thing really exist? He opened his mouth wide in disbelief. At the same time, on Mizuki's side, the system began to return the report for the 3rd time tonight. Ding! Host granted his disciple Rock Lee the basic principles of Ultra Instinct, triggering a 3037X return. Congratulations to Host, you got. At this time, the system suddenly stopped talking. Mizuki urged, you can tell me what you get. Ding! Host, please note that this refund involves God's neighborhood. Host is a mere mortal and is not eligible to receive such a high-level refund. Mizuki, do you think you are funny? Return it quickly, you idiot. System, if Host cannot understand Mandarin, I can express it in the dialect of your hometown. Mizuki broke his guard. Then reset this grant return opportunity, and I will give Xiao Li a new training scroll. The system said, this return will be reserved first and will continue after the host enters the god's neighborhood. Mizuki rolled his eyes. However, he still asked, what is the realm of God? System, this is very complicated to explain, and the host does not need to understand it in detail. To put it simply, it is almost 100 times better than 6 paths, so it can barely be regarded as God's neighborhood. Mizuki sighed. Well, it's still a bit far away, there's no need to think that far ahead now. This 3rd return is in vain for the time being. He was angry and wanted to vent his anger. At this moment, he heard Danzo's voice in the hot spring pool next door. Danzo actually came to the hot springs too. I'm so angry, but you Danzo still have the heart to enjoy a hot spring bath. It's unbearable. His body immediately liquefied and followed the hot spring water to the hot spring pool next door, covering Danzo's legs silently. He began to devour life force. Danzo leaned his head against the edge of the hot spring pool, his face slightly raised, and he closed his eyes to relax in the steaming heat. In this pool, in addition to Danzo, there are Mitokado Homura and Uchiha Kaharu. 3 old classmates made an appointment to take a hot spring bath together, which was also a kind of fun. In the past, Danzo would never do such a thing. He was thinking about Konoha wholeheartedly and thinking all day long, so how could he have time to enjoy it? But Mizuki exploded the root tissue, and almost all the root ninja he had trained so hard was lost. Danzo was left alone and had no choice but to enjoy it. Danzo knows very well that his family fortune is gone, and if he still shows an attitude of being ambitious and obsessed with the position of Hokage, it will be too long for his life. How did Hitaki Tsukumo die in the first place? How was Orochimaru forced to defect? Danzo doesn't want to follow in their footsteps. Hey, Mitokado Homura sighed. The wind is gone, the mirror is gone, and Hiruzen is gone. At the same time, there are only 3 of us left, still hanging on. Uchiha Kaharu also sighed. They all died in the battle. Only the 3 of us have no chance. As a ninja, it is really sad to die of old age. At this time Danzo suddenly asked, is the water temperature too low? Mitokado Homura and Udatane Kaharu are speechless. Speaking of serious matters, can you be more serious? The question you asked about crooked buildings is not on the same channel as us at all. The water temperature is not low, it's even hotter than before. Mitokado Homura replied angrily. Danzo frowned. But why do I feel so cold? At this moment, Udatane Kaharu exclaimed, ah. Kaharu, what's wrong? Mizuki Homura asked. Udatane Kaharu raised his finger and pointed at Danzo, saying, picture Danzo's face. What happened to my face? Danzo was shocked and hurriedly reached out to touch his face, and then felt the ravines all over his face. It's full of wrinkles, and if a fly lands on it, it won't be able to fly away. How so? At this time, Mizuki had returned to the hot spring pool next door. It didn't swallow Danzo dry in one breath, but it only left Danzo with 3 years of life. Old guy, whoever made you bump into my gun muzzle, blame the system. Hokage office, Orochimaru heard that Danzo was getting older, and it suddenly became clear to him. Because he had the same experience. Mizuki-kun, you are really haunted. If something happened to Danzo, Orochimaru, as a Hokage, would of course have to express his feelings, even if it was just for a show. Konoha immediately became alert, and the hot spring hotel was quickly surrounded by Anbu. They searched inside and outside several times. The hot spring pools were drained, but the murderer was not found. As a result, the matter became an unsolved case. Danzo vowed never to take a hot spring bath again. Mizuki ran away long ago, but he did not leave Konoha immediately, but planned to trick an apprentice back. At Hyuga's house, although it was already dark, the clan mansion was brightly lit. The senior officials of the Zong family and the branch house gathered here for meetings. Hiyashi's 2 daughters, Hyuga Hinata and Hyuga Hanabi, were also present at the meeting. Hinata lowered her head with a sad look on her face, and Hanabi held Hinata's hand as if to comfort her. Today I officially declare that Hyuga Hanabi is the heir of the clan house, and Hyuga Hinata is demoted to the branch house. Hinata, from now on, you must fulfill your responsibilities as a branch house and protect the clan even if you sacrifice yourself. Come now, I'm going to lay out curse mark, caged bird for you. Hiyashi looked serious and acted impartially. But deep in his pupils, there was a hint of helplessness. He glanced in the direction of the Hokage building and couldn't help but sigh. Hinata, don't blame the father. Originally, I planned to delay it for a few more years to let you enjoy more freedom. But the village is no longer safe. I planted caged bird for you today to protect you. Compared to the branch house, people from the clan are more dangerous because the clan's Byakugan can be taken away. Hinata walked up to Hiyashi, ready to accept the shackles of fate. Father, father. Hinata was as cautious as ever when she spoke. Yeah, Hiyashi nodded without saying anything more. He formed a seal with his hands and began to place a curse seal on Hinata. At this time, universal pull. The sound came from the air, and Hinata immediately seemed to be sitting on a crane, and her body flew into the air. Hu, Hyuga Hiyashi shouted and raised his palm to hit the air. 8 trigrams air palm. 8 trigrams air palm, a move from Hyuga's gentle fist, uses the palm of the hand to release high-strength and high-density chakra blocks from the air to attack remote targets. The attack distance can reach tens of meters, and it is extremely powerful. It is very practical when combined with the Hyuga family's Byakugan. In the air, Mizuki looked at the chakra palm that hit him from a distance, raised his hand and swatted it away like a fly. Ninjutsu of this level would do no harm to him. In the anime, during Chunin's exam, the fire bullets fired by the 3rd generation on the roof were casually shot away by the 1st Hokage. Hiyashi looked at Mizuki in the air and Hinata, who had been caught by Mizuki, with an ugly expression. Mizuki, I, the Hyuga family, admit that I have not offended you. What does your feud with the 3rd generation have to do with my Hyuga family? You took Neji away, and now you're taking away my daughter. What do you want to do? Mizuki, I took your daughter away just to save her. Curse mark, caged bird, against human nature. Hiyashi said, I did this to protect her. The Byakugan is highly coveted. Without caged bird, with her strength, her eyes would be taken away, and her life would be taken away. Mizuki smiled and said, "There are many excuses, but the fact is that you, as a father, do not have the strength to protect her. In that case, I will take her back to my village. In my village, her safety will be 100% guaranteed." Hiashi shook his head and said, "Can you guarantee that she will stay in your village forever and not face danger if she doesn't go out?" Mizuki shook his head. "You must leave the village, but your safety is absolutely guaranteed. I will accept her as my disciple and teach her to become stronger. Also, I will find him a good and strong husband to protect her. Uzumaki Naruto is a good choice. Whoever dares to touch my Mizuki disciples, I will kill his entire family." Mizuki was very proud of himself. As a master, he had absolutely nothing to say. The disciples' marriage matters have been arranged in advance. As soon as Hinata heard that Mizuki asked Naruto to be her husband, she immediately blushed, smoke started coming from her head, and then she fainted. "No, you can't take her away, I don't agree," Hyuga Hiashi said loudly. "Mizuki, I don't care whether you agree or not. Anyway, from today on, Hyuga Hinata is a member of my Phoenix village. If you have the ability, come to my Phoenix village to ask for someone." Mizuki grabbed people hardcore, and then flew away with Hinata. As for whether Hinata agrees or not, let Naruto ask her when they get to Phoenix village. Halfway through, Hinata stopped fainting. Mizuki then told her about Naruto's life experience, told her the third generation's insidious intentions of deliberately concealing the truth, and showed Naruto's miserable life of always being hungry and drinking expired milk, which made Hinata cry. "Naruto-kun is so pathetic. No wonder we all had lunches at ninja school, but Naruto-kun didn't. No wonder he is so much smaller than his peers. No wonder everyone doesn't play with him and calls him the son of a demon fox. It's so bad that the third Hokage did that to Naruto-kun. And those villagers, indiscriminately, are not good people either." Mizuki smiled happily. Hinata is already disgusted with Konoha and the third generation. You can't blame him for being deceptive. There is really too much black stuff in Konoha and we can't afford it. When they were about to return to Phoenix Village, Mizuki had already made plans to arrange for Hinata to live in Naruto's house, so that Kushina, a good wife and mother, could take care of Naruto while also taking care of her future daughter-in-law. After all, as the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, Hinata doesn't know how to take care of herself. Living close together will bring Naruto and Hinata closer together. Maybe Boruto will be born a few years earlier. I think Kushina will definitely agree. But when he returned to Phoenix Village, he found that Naruto was missing. "Tell me what's going on in detail." Mizuki looked gloomy. Kushina's red hair exploded and her fists were clenched tightly. But she still forced herself to be patient and explained the matter. "Half an hour ago, Naruto woke up and told me that he dreamed of an old man teaching him ninjutsu and that he was hungry. I smiled and said that he was a genius and never forgot to practice even in his dreams. Then I walked into the kitchen and made him his favorite ramen as a midnight snack. But when I made the ramen and took it out, he was gone. There are no signs of movement on the doors or windows, and there is no unfamiliar chakra smell." At this point, Kushina said angrily, "Obito, it must be Obito. Only with the space-time ninjutsu can one enter the house without using the doors or windows, and even after capturing Naruto, there will be no trace." Mizuki frowned. He didn't think it was Obito. First of all, Obito's eyes were blocked by himself, so there is no time and space ninjutsu. Secondly, Naruto can flying thunder god, even Obito cannot capture Naruto quietly. But Naruto disappeared in the house, and the doors and windows were not moved. There was no other possibility except the time and space ninjutsu. Who is it? Did Orochimaru release Minato from Shinigami's belly? This is impossible. If it is really Minato, the first person he wants to see is probably not Naruto, but Kushina. Being able to leave Naruto alone in the world while he sacrificed his life for his wife, it was obvious that in Minato's heart, Kushina was the first one. Parents are true love, children are just accidents. Suddenly he thought of something and asked, "By the way, Naruto said that an old man taught him ninjutsu in his dream. Please tell me in detail. What does the old man look like and what ninjutsu he taught me?" Kushina shook her head and said, "It's just a dream, it can't be taken seriously." And he said that the scene in the dream was very blurry and the old man's appearance was unclear. The ninjutsu taught was summoning, but the seals were all messed up and not right at all. Mizuki frowned. Did you guess wrong? It's not the old man from Six Paths who is up to something, but a simple dream. Meanwhile, Mount Myoboku. Naruto looked at the strange plants he had never seen before with a puzzled look on his face. This is where, I obviously followed the order of sealing that my mother taught me. Why did I appear in this place? Didn't I say that the summoning technique can summon summoning beasts? Where is my summoning beast? It's just that Kushina didn't tell Naruto that he couldn't use the summoning technique before signing the summoning blood contract. This will transfer the caster's space to the secret realm where the summoning beast is. Naruto sensed the flying thunder god technique and prepared to shuttle back. But after sensing it for a while, I didn't feel it. Mount Myoboku is in a separate space, isolated from the ninja world. Flying thunder god, unable to cross 2 dimensions. At this moment, the ground suddenly shook, and then again. It seemed like there was something huge, jumping in this direction. Naruto hurriedly jumped onto a giant mushroom, looked into the distance, and then saw a huge toad jumping towards this side. It is as big as a small mountain. There is a giant short sword hanging on his waist, and a pipe in his mouth, while jumping and puffing away. Hey, this toad looks familiar. Isn't this the big toad summoned by Pervy Sage in the Land of Waves? If I remember correctly, his name should be Gamabunta. Could it be that this is the hometown of Toad? Thinking of this, Naruto's eyes lit up. Such a big toad, wouldn't it be awesome if it became my summoning beast? At this moment, Wentai had arrived very close. Naruto jumped in front of Bunta and stood on top of a mushroom. Frogs have a strong sense of moving objects. When she noticed something moving, Bunta immediately stopped. Hey, he turned out to be a human imp. Well, the clear stupidity revealed in his eyes seems a bit familiar. Naruto was furious when he heard this and shouted, "Stinky toad, who are you calling stupid?" Wentai said with disdain, "You are really stupid, you can't even recognize who I am talking about." Naruto said angrily, "Stinky toad, don't be arrogant, today I will subdue you and make you my summoning beast. Accept me as a summoning mon." Bunta blew out a puff of smoke from his mouth, drowning Naruto. Ahem, Naruto choked. Wentai shouted, "Human brat, who do you think is standing in front of you? If you dare to say such arrogant words to me, I think you are tired of living." As soon as he finished speaking, Bunta suddenly jumped up and pressed towards Naruto with the force of a mountain. Hee, I still need to give him a good beating. Naruto threw out a handful of kunai and shouted at the same time, "Ninja technique. Multiple kunai shadow clone technique." The next moment, this kunai turned into tens of thousands and shot in all directions, inserting them all over the ground. Big Toad, get ready for Master Naruto's thunderous strike. There are kunai everywhere, even Gamabunta's back is full of kunai. But for a toad with a large body, rough skin and thick flesh, it doesn't hurt or itch, and it doesn't feel anything. It's not very harmful, but it's very insulting. Kid, you pissed me off. Bear my wrath. Wentai opened his mouth and hit water style. The Teppanyama, which to a human could be considered a giant water ball, shot towards Naruto at extremely fast speeds. Naruto chuckled. Stupid toad, your attacks can't hit me. With a flash of his body, he was on Wentai's back. Bunta was surprised. This is Minato's flying thunder god technique. Naruto asked, "Do you know my dad?" Bunta was even more shocked. "What did you say? Minato is your father?" "Yes." Bunta was silent, and then said, "Since he is Minato's son, I forgive your offense just now." "Get off my back." Naruto said, "No, I will defeat you and accept you as my summoning beast." Wentai roared angrily, "Little brat, don't push yourself too far. Don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you know Flying Thunder God. Although I can't catch you, you are no threat to me just because you are a brat." Bunta felt that such a big brat must not have learned any powerful ninjutsu. "It is absolutely impossible to defeat yourself," Naruto said loudly. "Then give it a try." "We agreed, as long as I defeat you, you must be my summoning beast and sign a summoning contract with me." Wentai said, "Okay, then you can try it. I will stand here and not move. You don't need to defeat me. As long as you can hurt me, I will agree to sign a blood contract with you." Bunta has nothing to do against the Flying Thunder God, so he doesn't plan to fight back. Okay, this is what you said. The next moment, he stretched out his right hand, and Rasengan quickly formed in his palm. Take my move. Bunta couldn't see what happened on his back, but he still remembered Rasengan's breath. Has this brat even learned Rasengan? At this age, I have mastered the Flying Thunder God and Rasengan, which is even more powerful than Minato back then. Although Naruto used the Rasengan, Bunta wasn't too worried. With its huge size, it will have no problem resisting the next Rasengan. Big Toad, are you ready? It's going to hurt a lot next. Bunta curled his lips and said, hurry up, it's just Rasengan. If I frown, I will take your last name. Naruto stopped talking, suddenly jumped into the air, and then threw Rasengan down. At the same time, he shouted, Ninja Technique. Rasengan Shadow Clone Technique. As soon as he finished speaking, that one Rasengan turned into thousands of them, falling like dense raindrops like crazy. Wentai looked up and saw this scene and was stunned. It wanted to escape, but it was too late. The next moment, thousands of Rasengan crashed on its back. In an instant, the skin and flesh were torn apart, it was too horrible to look at. Wentai was also pressed by the huge impact and fell to the ground, with all four toad legs stretched out. Ah, kid, I'll kill you. Naruto flashed up to Bunta's nose, looked into the two big toad eyes, and asked, I'm just asking you if you accept it. Kid, you are looking for death. Bunta slapped him, but Naruto immediately dodged away and the slap missed him, causing his nose to bleed instead. Facing Naruto who possesses the Flying Thunder God, Bunta is really helpless. You're not convinced, are you? In Naruto's hands, the Rasengan took shape again, and he injected more chakra into it, causing the Rasengan to grow in size. Looking at this scene, Mrs. Wen's heart was full of mother's betrayal. Is this going to summoning the beast? This is obviously going to kill Lousy. Stop, Naruto asked. Are you convinced? Bunta. Okay, I promise to be your summoning mon. What can it do? If you don't agree, half your life will be lost. Naruto was overjoyed and hurriedly said, hurry up, sign the summoning blood contract with me. Buntai said, don't worry, it's not that easy to sign the summoning blood contract with my Mount Myoboku Toad clan. You still need to go through the review. Is it so troublesome? Naruto frowned. Bunta. No trouble, you are Minato's son, the review should be relatively simple. Furthermore, after passing the review, you will sign a blood contract with the entire Mount Myoboku Toad clan. When the time comes, you can not only summon me, but also all other toads. What a bargain. Naruto's eyes lit up and he became even happier. Come up, I'll take you to see the old man. Naruto rode the toad and soon met the senior leader of Mount Myoboku, Fukasaku Sage, a very small old toad. Come on, review me quickly. Naruto couldn't wait any longer. Fukasaku said, no need to bother. Since you are Minato's son, there is no need for review. You've passed. After saying that, it formed a seal with both hands and pressed it on the ground. Summoning technique. With a bang sound, a scroll was summoned by it. Naruto was surprised. Can a toad also know the summoning technique? Fukasaku unfolded the scroll and said, little Naruto, sign your name here, and then press the blood hand seal. This will sign the summoning blood contract with my Mount Myoboku Toad clan. Naruto immediately did so. After the blood contract was signed, Fukasaku said, come with me now, Great Toad Sage wants to see you. Great Toad Sage. Naruto frowned. Who is that? Fukasaku explained. The Great Toad Sage, the ancestor of our toads from Mount Myoboku, has lived for thousands of years. Because he is too old, a little confused, and sleepy, he lives in the temple in the back mountain and sleeps most of the time. Naruto's eyes widened. An old toad that has lived for thousands of years. Fukasaku jumped on Naruto's head and slapped Naruto to the ground. No disrespect to the Great Toad Sage. Then he added, although Great Toad Sage is sleeping, he is actually predicting the future. It can see future scenes in its sleep. Naruto was surprised. Is it so powerful? Fukasaku reminded. I will see the Great Toad Sage later, please be careful with what you say and don't offend me. Also, Great Toad Sage is a little confused, so don't be too surprised. Soon, Fukasaku took Naruto into the temple and saw the great toad sage sleeping with his eyes closed. Did you fall asleep again? Fukasaku sighed and shouted. Master, Naruto is here, wake up quickly. Tomomaru's eyelids moved, he woke up. Who's here? He looked at Naruto and asked, who is this yellow-haired human kid? Fukasaku was helpless and said, it's Naruto. Didn't you know him in your dream? Or you asked me to bring him to you? Oh, it's Naruto. Naruto listened to the conversation and thought, this old toad is really confused. What do you want from me? The big toad said, Naruto, I knew you would come in my dream. I have a prophecy about you and the entire ninja world that I need to tell you. Naruto asked, what prophecy? About your master, the one named Mizuki, who predicted the destruction of the ninja world. The big toad kept saying nothing, and as soon as he said it, it made Naruto's head spin. Hey, what are you talking about? My master destroyed the ninja world, are you kidding me? Do you think that because you are older, I won't dare to beat you? Naruto can be a little nervous sometimes, but he's not stupid. How could you believe such nonsense? Little Naruto, don't be rude to the great toad sage. The great toad sage has used prophecies to save the ninja world several times. His prophecies are not wrong. Fukasaku said. Naruto looked cold, pointed at Gamamaru, and said, these are your own words and are completely baseless. I will never allow you to slander my master. Mizuki made him stronger, taught him ninjutsu, took him out of the dark place of Konoha, and resurrected his mother. But this old toad actually said that the master was a villain. Even a ninja couldn't bear it anymore. The big toad said, if you want evidence, then I will tell you. After hearing it, you just make your decision. Thousands of years ago, two aliens fell from the sky and came to this planet. One is named Otsutsuki Ashiki, and the other is named Otsutsuki Kagaya. The two also brought a larva of a sacred tree and planted it on the ground. The roots of the sacred tree grew rapidly, extending to every corner of the ninja world, absorbing all life force and growing. Naruto couldn't listen anymore and waved his hand, I know about Otsutsuki's story. You don't want to tell me that my master is also from the Otsutsuki clan, right? Now the big toad finally couldn't sit still. It exclaimed, you know Otsutsuki. Where did you know that? Naruto. What's so strange about this? Everyone in our village knows it. Otsutsuki Momoshiki, Otsutsuki Jinshi, Otsutsuki Pushi, Otsutsuki God. Toadmaru, Momoshi, Jinshi, Oraichi, the god of Otsutsuki, what are you talking about? Why haven't I heard of these things? Gamamaru can use dreams to predict what will happen in the next 30 years. But prophecies also depend on circumstances. If a prophecy is given to someone, then that person's future will be relatively clear. For example, what kind of places have you been to, what kind of people have you met, and what kind of things have you done? But these are all pictures. Big Toad can see them but cannot hear them, and there are no subtitles. This is why the Big Toad's prophecy to Jiraiya only said that the savior was a boy with yellow hair, but could not directly tell Jiraiya the name of the savior. If the prophecy was given to the entire ninja world, the clarity would be reduced. I can roughly see the direction of the ninja world and what major events have happened, but I can't be specific. So Gamamaru really didn't know any of the names Naruto said. Although the Big Toad was surprised, it reacted quickly. It asked, is this what Mizuki told you? Have you ever thought about where he got the news? The Otsutsuki clan is an advanced race in the universe. They are all strangers to ninjas in the ninja world. Your master, Mizuki, has never left the ninja world. Why does he know so much? Naruto sneered. TCH, my master is very powerful. He has some methods that ordinary ninjas don't have. It's not normal. You can predict the future as a toad. My master stayed up all night, so it's not impossible. Toadwan was speechless. This statement really makes sense and cannot be refuted. But now that I have decided to get rid of Mizuki, I have to bite the bullet and get it done. Little Naruto, you are wrong. I am very responsible to tell you that your master's true identity is actually the larva of the sacred tree. Naruto was furious. You are a tree, your whole family is a tree, my master is obviously a human. Gamamaru asked, are the trees near your Phoenix village dry and dry? Naruto frowned, because as Gamamaru said, the woods near the village would dry up from time to time. Gamamaru struck while the iron was hot and said, "The growth of the larva of the sacred tree requires the absorption of a large amount of life force. Those dry trees have all had their life force absorbed by Mizuki. He is still in his infancy and has little need for life force. But as he grows, he will absorb more and more life force, until eventually, all living things in the human world will be drained of their life force and die. By then, the ninja world will be completely silent. Our planet will also wither completely." The more Tomomaru spoke, the faster and faster he spoke, and the more serious he became. "No, I don't believe it," Naruto roared. "Master Mizuki will never destroy the ninja world." Seeing that the foundation was almost laid, Big Toad breathed a sigh of relief and finally finished what he needed to say. These words may not change Naruto's mind now, but they will plant a seed of doubt in Naruto's heart. Given time, the seeds will sprout and grow and play their due role. "Naruto, you and Mizuki have a deep relationship as master and disciple. I am not saying this to make you believe it now. You don't have to believe what I say, or we can wait and see. Soon, Mizuki will reveal his true colors. At that time, you will know whether what I said today is true." Naruto looked at Gamamaru and said, "You make me doubt my master first, I won't be fooled." Gamamaru smiled and said, "Whatever you think. In short, I, the Mount Myoboku Toad clan, have no ill intentions towards you. It is fate that you come to Mount Myoboku. When you come here, you are destined to become the savior like the Sage of Six Paths. Next, you will stay at Mount Myoboku and practice Senjutsu." Naruto sneered. "You slandered Master Mizuki, so I won't be able to practice the Toad clan's art." Gamamaru said, "It's not up to you. Mount Myoboku is a secret space independent of the ninja world. If you want to leave, you need to use Senjutsu as the basis. If you can't learn Senjutsu, you'll have to stay at Mount Myoboku forever, with toads as your company." Fukasaku on the side wanted to say something, but was stopped by Gamamaru's eyes. It could only sigh, wondering in its heart, what on earth does this ancestor of its own want to do? In Phoenix Village, Naruto's disappearance made Mizuki anxious. For several days, he searched everywhere, even sneaking into Rain Shinobi Village, but there was still no news about Naruto. In desperation, he returned to the village and asked Kushina in detail what happened that night. After Kushina finished speaking, Mizuki was speechless. "Didn't you tell him that he can't summon until he signs a blood contract with summoning?" Kushina: I thought he knew. Didn't he graduate from a ninja school? Didn't he learn this basic ninja knowledge?" Mizuki: "Don't you know that he was the weakest in school and his test scores were never up to standard?" Kushina: "He told me that he always comes in first place." Mizuki: "This mother and son are really worrying. Okay, don't worry too much." Naruto used the summoning technique and went to the summoning beast secret realm. With his strength, even if he reaches the 3 secret realms, there will be no danger, and there will even be opportunities. Mizuki guessed that Naruto probably went to Mount Myoboku. So he was not in a hurry. "It's time for me to practice. There are so many powerful ninjutsu. Only when you learn them can you become your own. Then, let's start with the invincible flying thunder god. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more."